God damn, Gary. Some serious gourmet shit. What flavor is this? That's right, it's the all-hell medium roast private blend. Check out the Geek Grind Coffee Nerdrotic page for our other options like the Decadent, Feathers of Liberty, vanilla-infused flavored coffee. Or if you're looking for something darker, try the Dark Roast FNT blend of the Fellowship. You know what? Just buy all three. GeekGrindCoffee.com. Use discount code Nerdrotic. Huzzah!
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight, Middle-earth edition. Now, as any honest and decent person knows, Sauron is not a figure to be taken unconcernedly. This wasn't up for debate even a few years ago, but all of a sudden, you've got militarized Nazgul patrolling the Shire and threatening the ability of its citizens to travel freely. So why are some of Middle-earth's residents, namely Saruman the White, signing off on it? What's really going on here? 4 unassuming hobbits, not warriors, not politicians, are embarking on a journey that would daunt even the most seasoned adventurers. Why? Because when the fabric of freedom is threatened, it's the duty of every citizen to stand up to tyranny. Period. When did we forget how to say, well, actually, no, you can't just enslave the whole world. Sorry, that's not how things work. And let's be clear, these hobbits aren't delusional. They don't believe they can defeat such darkness on their own. But we all get the sense that they understand that standing up to evil, no matter how insurmountable it seems, is what separates the moral from the cowardly. Anyone with a pulse and 2 brain cells can't help but feel inspired by a story like this. Courage isn't just a word. It's the pillar on which every civilization worth remembering is built upon. The moment we forget that is the moment that evil wins.
Nerdrotic.com.
Oh man, that little white line on the right is gonna bug the crap out of me and probably the
Chris,
chat.
are you showing off your buckets?
Yeah. Let me fix that.
You're muted.
He's muted.
Chris, you're muted.
Chris is
How many Dune popcorn buckets are too many Dune popcorn buckets? That's a question.
There'll never be enough.
Good question.
not enough, especially when you have to send out like 20.
Right. Well, people are asking me because they're only at AMC theaters, the one that everyone's after, and not
okay, it's not like most people have an AMC theater. I mean, if like they're out in the middle of, well, you're in Canada, and that's your own damn fault. Okay.
I was
Should I get you a bucket?
Will they allow it through customs? You know.
I'll get the bucket. I'll wear the helmet you bought me as well. You know.
Okay, love it. Just for the photo shoot alone. All right, I'll get an extra bucket.
Look at you. Better send him some shipping money. He's gonna be broke after all this.
This is how you put
It's
it in the bucket.
It's huge. Yeah. Oh no.
Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner, ladies and gentlemen. It's hump day, and everybody needs a nooner, and it's a little afternoon. And we are here to talk about Dune Part 2, spoiler free. Spoiler free. Chris and I have seen it, and Chris has probably seen it 3 times.
I've seen it again on Thursday.
I've seen it a couple times now. So, yeah. Well, I'm doing my review today. It's going to be really short, but
right.
I'm doing my video review, recording it today so it can come out tomorrow. Then we have Gina Carano was on the Patrick Bet David podcast, and it was like your normie uncles interviewing Gina trying to talk about culture. It was freaking hilarious, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. But it was great seeing the chat. Everybody was in like Jeremy was in the chat. Of course, Drunk was in the chat. Lots of 199s, lots of fellowships. That was cool to see.
Yeah, I watched it. I was just like, I fell asleep in the middle of it. But it did seem like there were no new facts for me. It was nothing new. It was just her basically telling her story to a different audience.
Yeah, which needs to get out.
Yeah, I like PBD. I like
I did too.
You know, I like that show. I like those guys. They really break down issues. But it's so funny when certain types of people who cover stuff, when they cover pop culture, they really don't know a lot. They don't know a lot. But then, you know, they could talk to me about real estate, and I'm clueless there. So there you go. You know, or whatever.
Yeah, well, when it comes to real estate, I keep hearing I'm doing everything wrong by buying it outright. So, which is bullshit, by the way. Which is total bullshit. Right. Hello, Chris Gore. It's good to talk to you, man. We missed last week because EFAP and Stuckman, but we're back.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, I was there for a bit of it, but yeah, there's so much going on right now that we just need to dive right in. And I'm glad to be back. So let's go.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hello, hang on.
People.
Hello. I'm hopefully sounding more like myself, but I think there's a little phlegmy still in the throat as I'm speaking. Oh my god. But yeah, I'm excited to be back. I'm so excited to be watching Dune 2 tomorrow. Dune Part 2.
Hey, I just want to commend you on a great performance in Shogun. You played multiple parts. And well done, by the way. Really well done.
You know,
I couldn't even tell. Job. Like she played all the female characters in Shogun, and yeah, I couldn't even tell, especially when like the 2 women were fighting each other. So,
I mean, they did it for Lindsay Lohan when she was in The Parent Trap. So
yeah,
obviously, you know, it's possible.
And she still makes it here to produce this show and go over your super chats. From John concentration camp.
Chat saying mine and Chris's mic volume is low. Are you able to boost that a bit?
Boost. You boost.
Hang
on.
Boost it.
Boost it. Let me boost it some more. Now say something.
Say something.
That's much better.
Something.
That's much better.
Yeah.
It's always a mystery what the volume's going to be on when I turn on this computer. I need to remember to check it. Right. All right. I think we should start with Gina. Like you fell asleep. It was 6 o'clock your time to be, you know, to give
right.
Yeah. And
I got up at 6 a.m. to watch it.
And what time do you normally go to bed?
I normally go to bed about midnight.
Yeah.
1 a.m.
Same here.
So probably not the best.
Yeah. I thought it was a good refresher for what everybody kind of already knows. And Gina's still being kind of nice about it. But I think the one cool thing that came out of it is she just straight up said Kathleen Kennedy's this cold bitch.
Yeah, no, I love that about how like she's interacted with her for like 20 minutes. And she just was like trying to relate to a human being because she's this executive at this huge level. She really has no clue what's going on for real.
No, I think
that's the sense I got.
again, the guys interviewing her didn't know much, and Gina was trying to break it down. The conversations like kind of gave me a headache a little bit. It was kind of funny though, especially when they started talking about Bond and mixing up Henry Cavill with Jim Caviezel and fucking saying Henry Caviezel or something like that.
Right.
That's so funny. And hey, it happens to the best of us. But just a refresh on Kathleen Kennedy. Because they were going like, wow, she's been attached to all these movies. She was married to Frank Marshall, who was friends with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. She was there to get coffee. I'm sure she probably is a good facilitator, but it is beyond any doubt now that whatever she was as a producer, she is now on her own. She is no longer and has not been surrounded by the better men, the talented men that she was surrounded, that gave her this gig, by the way. And on her own, she is the worst studio head in the history of Hollywood. And if she was a dude, she'd be fired. End of story.
I think that's 100% true, Gary, because when you look at, we don't need to rehash the profound failure that is the Star Wars sequel trilogy. You don't see a lot of people talking about that. There's that one meme. It's my favorite meme. I've sent it to you. You've shared it. I've shared it, where it shows you the end of Return of the Jedi, the heroes of one, and then the end of the sequel trilogy, Rey by herself taking the Skywalker name for who knows why. And she's the granddaughter of a Palpatine, and the Skywalker bloodline is gone. It's so bizarre that you could sit there. How it's not defensible to say that that's a really good ending to the sequel trilogy. The characters I cared about, Han, Luke, and Leia, and of course Lando and other characters too, Admiral Akbar, were shown such disrespect. When you look at that sequel trilogy, one, it has not aged well. It will not age well. And I'm looking forward to seeing The Phantom Menace in theaters, because you know what? There are parts of that movie I really like. The parts of this prequel trilogy that hold up. Some of the best lightsaber duels. There's some good lines of dialogue. You can't quote anything from the sequel trilogy that's worthwhile, but you can for the prequels. And if Jeremy was here, he would be on my side, defend me. And look, I hated the prequels when they came out, and then it was like, oh, they've aged well, especially in light of modern political day. Let's say they've aged better than the sequels.
Exactly. All the people who made them, who thought they were like emulating George Bush at the time, it ended up they were predicting Biden pretty well.
They were predicting like our current
not that they intended to,
right?
But yeah, I won't go that far. But that's cool. People like them. That's fine. Another thing they pointed out that I thought was great is they showed the graph of Disney stock, right? And I said this at the time, and got some clapback. Like, this won't affect Disney. So they showed Disney stock. The highest it's ever been was the month Gina got fired. And it went downhill from there. The highest it's ever been was the month Gina got fired. And it's gone down since then. So, it was a massive fuck up that a lot of people noticed. A lot of Star Wars fandom is a weird place right now. What's left of it. The normies have completely abandoned it. It's a dead fucking brand. I mean, good luck with putting your shit in the theaters. I welcome it. And we'll see how hard, like Marvel's numbers. The Rey movie will have Marvel's numbers. It will be fucking terrible. And I welcome it, but it certainly, they had momentum back. We've gone over it a lot on this channel, so we're not going to repeat it, but they had their momentum back and they killed it when they fired her for the inconsistency. But Gina said herself, nobody called her. Nobody backed her. Bob, Bill Burr a little bit, but he was even afraid. Bill Burr, the fearless comedian, was even afraid to go up against Daddy Disney. And I have my thoughts on Bill Burr. I know a lot of people like him. I think he's fucking fake as fuck, but that's me. Ask Anthony Cumia how real he is. Okay. Go look into that lore. Yeah. It ain't cool. But, it's such old news now. Like sometimes in our sphere, we roll our eyes, but it does need to get out more because it still hasn't, like, there's still people who think like Gina is a transphobe and Gina like was pro-Nazi and don't even bother looking. I mean, that's the problem, is so much of this is, and this is what Disney relies on. This is what they relied on. And the whole point of the interview was they destroyed her life, didn't think twice about it, slept like babies at night, and went on the company that shrunk Finn on the poster for China for The Force Awakens, that covered up Chadwick Boseman's face for China on The Force Awakens, that thanked a concentration camp that the supporting a bill to sexualize kindergartners. And they're coming off like, well, this woman is just not moral enough for us. She's just she's too problematic. And it's, you know what, you can have your views. You don't, if Pedro Pascal is calling out Trump's, what he did was way worse. And we've gone over this a million times. It's the inconsistency. They are trying to drown people out, and Disney has become this culture of fear, and that's why it's a culture of failure now. There's no way they're going to turn around. And I know they were talking about it on the podcast, like if Nelson Peltz get in there, he's going to really rock the boat. I don't think two boards.
Impossible.
No.
Impossible.
It's impossible. It's got cancer.
It's got, the cancer is the activists that have embedded themselves at all levels. And as it's been described to Alan and I in all the emails that we've gotten from people, and the people who've reached out to us with the D-Files, is the inmates are running the asylum.
Yep.
That's what Disney is right now. The inmates, and it's at all levels. It's at the lowest levels, and in particular in middle management. I've been talking to a bunch of people. The middle management is where it is, and it mainly comes from, I hate to say this, comes from white progressive women.
Yep.
Is where all of this comes from, that feel that they've got this savior complex. They got to save, they got to fight, they got to fight for everybody that isn't them. And they didn't ask for it, right? It's so ridiculous. And it's destroying the company. And the thing is that I didn't realize, that's really interesting, that the stock began to tumble at that point. It was at its highest point, because it's not Gina, it's what she represents. She represents half of the country, or at the very least, she represents thinking people, right? People who question. And that's, like, to me, that's embedded as a Gen Xer. That's just embedded in my DNA, is just question everything.
Everything.
I've never trusted the government.
Yep.
I've voted in every election, including midterms. I vote in midterms. I vote. I pay attention. But wow, do I feel like I've been betrayed and I've been sold something that's not real. And Gina even says at the very beginning of the discussion, she talks about she was just not particularly political, and her family wasn't political, right? She talked about how she didn't even know if her relatives were Democrats or Republicans. It wasn't something they discussed. They were small business owners, okay? And they were entrepreneurs. And if you look at, like, Gina's career, she has, like, in entertainment, it's a freelance business. So one job leads to the next job. She's doing MMA, she's doing, movie roles, she's doing all these different things that bring in money, and probably ekes out a decent living, even though probably the least she was paid was probably from Disney. When you look at, like, what she was paid per episode is kind of pathetic. And by the way, she made half of that money. So 25 grand per episode, manager, agent, government, you're looking at maybe just over half is what she ended up with
per episode. Her per episode is dwarfed, and this is going to make you sad, by the hardest working streamer on the planet, Hassan Piker. What he makes in a month dwarfs that. Absolutely dwarfs that. It's not even close. But man, he works harder than Gina, obviously, getting his nuggies from his mommy. We'll talk about that later. But you're right, Chris. And, but it was like an upward trajectory. And, like, the last phone call she had with Disney, correct me if I'm wrong, was from Jon Favreau saying, hey, you got a show. Everything's good. Then the next thing she knows, she's fired through the media, like, a couple months later.
They even made that announcement. Do you remember, like, Kathleen Kennedy, when she did that? Like, those talks are so lame. Yeah. Let's bring up the people with the least personality and have them sell to everyone what's coming up. They announced the show. I mean, look, Kathleen Kennedy has announced more projects than have been done.
She's fired more directors than she's hired.
Yeah, it's embarrassing at this point. And as you pointed out at the top of our discussion, if she were a man, I don't believe she would be in her position at this time.
Fuck no. The guy who just oversaw the live action part of Disney, who greenlit all the live action remakes of animated films, just got canned. And it was just a lamb for the slaughter.
Too late for me. Too little too late.
Oh, it's all too little too late. This is Bob Iger is trying to preserve his legacy and his job. He doesn't give a fuck about Disney. We'll get to that. We got some proof of that. And I guess that's where Bob and I have something in common. I don't give a fuck about Disney. I would love for Hollywood to turn around. And I think in some aspects it will. And that's what I want. Disney can fucking burn. I don't want it to turn around. I want it to be the failure that everybody points to. Because fuck any company that thanks a concentration camp and tries to like get on their soapbox and tell us how much better they are than us. You know, one of their executives privately comes out, blames the fans. We're all a bunch of bigots, but please still come see our movie. Go fuck yourself. Could care less about this company.
It's Gina represents 50% of Americans. You know, and I feel like that was the point. That's the thing when people noticed because she was a very popular character on the show. She had action figures of herself. I have one.
I have, that's the only
Black series. The Black series.
I've got like 3 Gina Carano action figures. I'm going to give a couple away at the meetup in Vegas. I don't need 3.
Oh wow!
But I've got 3. I'm looking at one right now.
There you go. But like you know, I think that's when people stood up and took notice, and it took a while for people to find out. Right? We pay attention to entertainment news.
Yes.
For the most part, normally people do not.
Well, did you see the part where she's talking about there's so many passionate Star Wars fans and you walk into the rooms and they're surrounded by collectibles and Patrick Bet-David goes, "Yeah, that's weird."
That was funny.
That was funny. I was cracking up. Caught a stray right there. Wow. I don't give a shit. No shame to my game. Who cares? No, but you're right. Like, for one, they wanted the Force is female empowerment, and you have a character who's a side character in the show who's immensely popular. Mm-hmm. Immensely popular. I see more Cara Dune cosplays than I see Rey cosplays at Comic Cons.
I was gonna say
like 10 to 1.
That I have never. Okay, I go to a lot of cons, Gary. I have never once seen a Cara Dune action figure in a discount bucket.
Nope.
I always see Rey figures in the discount, like discount $2, and it's a big box of Star Wars stuff, and Rey is in there. It's always Rey and Rose. It's so funny. Like they just weren't popular. And I don't look.
Ike Perlmutter was right.
Yeah, Ike Perlmutter was right.
He was right.
He was right. But yeah, it's just to me, to us, it's so obvious.
X-ray girl, you're a girl. Look at your background.
Right.
It's filled with a bunch of girl shit. Nothing wrong with that. You're a girl.
But that's fine. It's cute. Girls like stuff that's cute, right? Whatever you thought of the Porgs, whatever. There's something cute in every. There's something cute in every Star Wars movie. Fine, you know. It's always there's always something new there. That's I don't have a problem.
But you can't rely on that though, because you have to keep me interested in the story, right? I watched the first sequel, and that didn't interest me to watch the next one. So they're doing something super wrong there.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, like Baby Groot, which I blame for fucking Baby Yoda. Baby Groot was part of the story, right? It was part of Groot's story. So, and they didn't stick with it. They turned him into adolescent Groot, which wasn't very interesting. But you know, at least they didn't keep him Baby Groot forever. Like Baby Yoda, this is how much thought they put into it. Let's make Yoda a baby, just like Baby Groot. That's how much fucking thought they put into it. And these are this is an organization led by a woman who's old enough to be a grandma who should be bouncing little grandchildren on their knee, who has no connection to Star Wars at all in her past, other than knowing George Lucas, but none of her names are on any of the Star Wars films. She was more closely connected to Steven Spielberg. So they were in the friends circle, but like, she didn't give a shit. She didn't watch fucking Star Wars. Are you kidding me? Do you think Kathleen Kennedy, if she wasn't with her husband, Frank Marshall, who probably went because of George, do you think she would have gone to see Star Wars? Fuck no, she wouldn't have gone. And none of these people watch their own shit. None of them do. I mean, look at, it was Nelson Peltz pointed this out. You know, they were like, well, because they were going after him for saying he's not qualified for this. He's all, no, but my boy was the former CFO. And if you go around the board, none of them are qualified. None of them have entertainment backgrounds. Oh, and by the way, they barely own any stock in the company, which is telling. I think that's the most telling thing of all.
Well, it's something that like Rob Burnett and I have talked about quite a bit. It's the fact that there are people in the industry now who don't understand, nor do they love movies.
Yes.
They don't. And it used to be my buddy Jim Agnew's a screenwriter. So, you know, you go, you know, like you bond with people over like you have the shared history of movies. I can sit there with Rob and like, do you remember this movie from the 1930s? Blah, 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 blah. Or do you remember in the like, we could talk about film going back decades, long before recent history. Right. And then, and you've got that common language that like, you know, certain huge things that happen in entertainment history, seminal moments, films that changed everything. The beginnings of the blockbuster, starting with Jaws and then Star Wars. And then it was like, well, the summer movie season is now, we have to make a blockbuster. That wasn't something Hollywood did. Hollywood was kind of dead in the late 60s and early 70s. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah, television kicked their ass. And
it's so there was this big renaissance led by Lucas and Spielberg, among others. So
because things got cheaper, you know,
right.
Once the things, you know, film got cheaper and more accessible. And that that's what's happening now, by the way. It's getting like easier than ever to make a movie. But
when you look at the people don't know, they don't understand film.
No.
They don't get it. They don't understand not just film, cinema. And the thing that like has
cinema.
The thing that is always that's bugged me about Star Wars is it's sort of like the modern Star Wars. There's no, and I got to quote Paul Chato on this, got to give him credit for this, gear porn. When you look at like Harrison Ford as Han Solo, he was just his character from American Graffiti. He's a gearhead who works on his car. He's got the hydro spanner. You know, he's a trucker.
Well,
and it's like,
yeah,
you know, you got robots and this, and you've got tools and you know what? I'm sorry, but you add a lot of female energy into Star Wars and you lose the gear porn. Conversely, we're going to get to it, but I'm in a little preview. Dune Part 2 is filled with gear porn.
Hey.
All the ships and the ornithopters and the just like, it's awesome.
The woman mechanic thing, bit of a trope. Okay. It's a bit of a trope. They do it in Serenity and Firefly, and I freaking love it. But that's when it was like unusual. They always make women mechanic. Go out in the real world. How many fucking women mechanics are you going to find?
None.
You'll find more unicorns. Okay.
Yeah.
There's more trans children than women mechanics.
Oh my God. Well, that's
and they shouldn't be real.
True.
And they're not even real. Okay.
But that's, I mean, we're going to get to Dune, but like, I love that. Like, you know what? I love that. Like freaking just the like, and I'm a guy that used to work on cars, and I say used to, because now you own an automobile that's reliable. You have to hook up a computer to even know what's wrong with it. I get a little light that says service needed. Go give someone money. I used to change my own oil.
Yeah.
I built.
So you got to get an old car. Just get a freaking I'm probably going to go out and buy, I've done this a couple times, an 85 Toyota or an 84 Toyota.
Yeah, one that gets like 11 miles to the gallon.
Like, just like 85 Toyota pickup truck. Sorry. It's one of the greatest things ever fucking made. 22R engine, just because I can work on all that all day long.
Well, I used to, with my buddies in the 90s, we would just work on our cars and motorcycles on the weekend. I had a 72 Triumph Daytona 500. I stripped to the frame, repainted it, put it back together because they're such simple machines.
Yeah.
I left it loud.
When you open the hood, you're just like, I can figure this out in a day. Now it's plug your USB drive in.
Yeah,
I was watching Grand
Yeah.
Tour, and Richard Hammond had to fix his car. All he had to do was mess with a couple of programs on his fucking computer. I'm like, that's not fixing your car. That's
Right.
terrible.
It annoys me, but like that was all through the 90s. We were just like, we'd work on cars on the weekends, we'd drink light beer, and just kind of like make fun of each other. We just totally make fun of each other. And like an episode of FNT or like G&G Daily when Jeremy and Ryan are on. But like we would just work on that stuff. And like, I don't know, there's just something about it. Like you can physically like, and I had like 2 sets of ratchets. One were American, right? And then one was the metric system for my bike, you know? So that was just always super fun. And in fact, I was talking to my buddy Dante, and I was like, I want to bring something back. I think just recent years and social media have like destroyed something, and that is just in-person gatherings. You know, we're always meeting up at restaurants or bars. And I'm like, I remember, Gary, you'll remember this. We never went out. We would just have, well, who's having a barbecue this weekend?
Oh,
Yeah,
the
just go over to the
hangout.
house.
Whose house are you going
And it was just
to?
like, oh, I'm bringing over sausage. Okay, we need buns.
And one of your
I'm bringing a
friends
salad.
and one of your friends always had the better hangout house, right? Like
oh yeah, the better couches with the
better couches. He always
outside
maybe his
area.
dad was rich and he's got a better surround system. Yeah, it's like it's and a pool.
we wouldn't, dude. We
Speaking
would
for
not,
myself.
like. And now it's like it's so expensive to go out. You know what?
Yeah.
I'd rather
and
stay
I'm
in.
looking. I calculated like how much I spend like going out. I'm like, I'm just gonna get a house where I have a better area to have a gatherings because I
You
want to have
a great house
barbecues.
for a gathering. So
I need more space. Look at all my stuff. I need more space. I need more space for Dune popcorn buckets.
Yeah, you
But,
do. But
no, but I miss that. I miss that because it was so nobody had cell phones. It was like, what time? 5:00. Cool. I'll bring and everyone just sort of like you bring something for the house. I bought a 12-pack of PBR, right? Like, or someone just brings something, and then everything was for everybody. You know, there wasn't, and it was just like I miss those days. It was like super fun. And then you didn't go out. You weren't like trying to find parking in LA and paying too much or some stupid stuff. By the way, Gary,
well, it's
I
called
DM'd
city.
both-
It's called city living. You want to save a bunch of money? Move out of a fucking city.
yeah, move
Yeah.
out to the country.
I am on the
Barely.
outskirts, but I DM'd both of you.
Barely.
It's Pasadena.
Of LA.
know.
Okay.
It's still
Okay,
like the
so-
suburbs, okay?
By the way, I DM both you and X-Ray Girl a video that's like a 1-minute video that Marvel just put out that I think you might like by the title.
All right.
Check your.
And then-
Do you want to watch it
Twitter.
now, Gary?
Yeah. Yeah. Then we'll go to Bob Iger dumping all
'Cause I
his
gotta
effing
see-
stock.
I want to hear Gary's comment on this because. Okay.
Oh God, not another one of these. They've done these before, dude. Okay, let's see it. Let's see it. Ugh. A one shot. Oh, Anthology. Fucking Anthology.
Stolen from Marvel? What?
Okay. A one shot Women of Marvel, a one shot Anthology. The women stolen from Marvel. Oh God. Down syndrome. Squirrel girl. That'll get them running to the comic shops. Comic shops are saved.
Who is that? Angelique. Who is that? Like, there's like an intro right there when it lists the credits. Right there, Gary. Angelique Roche. Who's that?
Fuck if I know.
Okay. Well, you got Gail Simona's there.
Oh, thank God. Comic shops are saved.
Wow. So riveting.
You know what some of the better selling comics are right now? Ultimate Spider-Man, which as bought, and to his credit, buy whatever you want, okay? The reason I'm not going to buy it, no matter how fucking good it is, I might buy it secondhand or something like that at a con, but is they had to put to make the real Peter Parker Spider-Man with Mary Jane. They had to put it in the ultimate universe, not even in the main universe. And it's the best fucking selling comic. It's the best selling comic. Transformers, they just had to go back to basics, like to the most basic, and everybody's calling like a genius. And it's like, no, you just started writing real stories again, and these are 2 books. Now, times it by 20, and then you might have an industry again where you have 20 solid fucking titles across maybe 3 publishers that sell regularly, in a mid-sized shop that sell 100 copies a week. It's never going to happen. And it's such a fucking joke that they have to go out and do that. And it exposes the entire industry. So Gail Simone, bringing her back, she wasn't that great to begin with. She was a pretty good writer on Birds of Prey when she wasn't fucking bitching on Twitter. You think bitching on Twitter is new for her? First time I got blocked on Twitter and blocked and suspended was going after her because her books were late. And I'm like, quit fucking tweeting. Your fucking books are late all the time and back off from the refrigerator or some shit like that. It was pretty mean. But
that's good.
And that was a long time ago. And to think it's just you're rotating in the same fucking half-talented hacks. And Gail Simone is not that great. There is somebody behind the scenes, a pretty big name who wants to really try, but it looks like the resistance is so much like that person's like, I can't even be fucking bothered at this point. And who could blame him? Who can blame him? I hope he still does, but I think they've had the run. Comic shops are dying out. And the ones that are survive off back issues, survive off of toys. And that's good. That's what they used to be. Comic shops did not used to sell new comics back when they first started. It was some weird guy with a huge collection. And Gary Arlington, San Francisco Comic Books. That's a weird dude who had a huge comic collection. God damn, I see something like that. It's like, wow. I wonder what the retailers think of that. I wonder if they had Comics Pro recently in Pittsburgh. I wonder if that's where they unveiled it. Comics Pro was an organization started by Brian Hibbs, amongst others. I was a charter member back in the day, and it was supposed to be like a group of us getting together to like stick it to Diamond because Diamond was a monopoly, right? So we comic shop retailers just are not the most united bunch in the world. Good luck. And it fucking failed miserably. As a matter of fact, I quit because they just started inviting Diamond and the publishers into the Comics Pro. And I'm like, I thought this was about like holding them fucking accountable for shit. So I'm like, fuck you, bye, collectivist shit. And did my own thing. But it's still around, I guess. It's still around. And I think it's just an excuse for retailers to hang out, which I got nothing against. That was the funnest part of just hanging out with other retailers. But yeah, they're screwed. That's great. Disney. Hey, I hear Disney's going to change, Chris. I keep hearing they're going to retool, reevaluate, reimagine, but not reboot. Don't call it a reboot.
Yeah, I don't know where Marvel goes from here. You've got 2 bombs in a row, and I think you pointed out correctly that normies don't know. Madam Web is Marvel. It says Marvel at the beginning. It's Spider-Man universe. Normies don't know.
They don't know.
They're like, oh, what is this, another thing? And that thing came in, it didn't debut at number 1 when it came out.
Nope.
And the second weekend, not only did it drop dramatically into number 4, the movie Ordinary Angels, which I happen to see with Alan Ritchson.
I saw your review.
Yeah, it first of all, really good film. They're calling it faith-based. It's not faith. It's a guy goes to church in the movie. It's based on a true story. But the fact that beat it that's telling you something. And all this is doing is just completely eroding the brand.
The overall brand. Yep.
The overall brand is just, people are done. There's too much homework. I don't want to have seen 9 things to get to where, to get to this story.
Remember when
Even
they used
the
to
dumb.
Remember when they used to worry about brand confusion? So we can't have
Right.
Batman in this TV series because we don't want to confuse him with a Batman we might make in a movie later. So we get all these series without fucking Batman, but all the Batman side characters. Now we have like an offshoot of a Spider-Man offshoot of an offshoot.
It's so ridiculous.
It is.
It's yeah. Yeah. It's whatever.
Don't get me
It's,
started.
I don't know. It's
on the Batman TV show thing, which is such a fucking
no,
no-brainer. It's so
it's so dumb. Like
It's
and
so
God, I
dumb.
thought that- do you remember that show, the Gotham show that was all about James
Yes.
Gordon? I don't know. And do you remember what was her name? Fish.
Fish
Oh.
Mooney. Fish Mooney
Oh, that
played
was
by
so awful. Yeah, Will Smith's wife.
Will Smith's
Well-
wife. What's her face?
Yeah, God, I can't stand her. I'm so glad you and I both forgot her name.
Yeah.
But I remember just like, why? It always just struck me. So that's Bruce Wayne, and he's a kid, and he's like, I
Jada
guess I
Pinkett
never
Smith.
finished
Jada
Yeah,
Pinkett.
Jada-
So it's Will
Yeah.
Will Pinkett's husband.
Will Pinkett. But I remember just like, God, because it sucks. Like I grew up watching in reruns. I watched the 66 Adam West Batman TV show. Freaking loved it. Got the Blu-ray box set. Love
Dude,
it. Watching it.
The
love
reason
that show.
the reason Gen X has a bunch of nerds, that includes
Yeah.
Chris Gore and me, is because of George Reeves' Superman and Batman 66 and fucking Star Trek. We're on the same channel on rotation all the time when we were kids.
syndication, and those things were always on. It was like every night. There were so many episodes because they made so many episodes back in the day.
It was
that
only one
it was every
season.
night.
Batman 66 is one season of television.
No. Well, there are 3.
It's
seasons.
1 year of television, basically. They shot
Right,
it
right,
like
right. 1
within a
year.
year.
Yeah,
within a
that makes
year.
sense.
So yeah, it's like the Honeymooners. The Honeymooners, like I didn't know this. The Honeymooners just had like 35 or 36 episodes.
Ah.
That's it. I thought it ran for like 10 years or something like that. Wow, that's crazy. But that's just the way things were. But yeah, it's 1 year of shooting, basically, for Batman. And there's a lot of episodes. I fucking love it. I think
God,
it's
I love
great. They wanted to run away from that so badly. And I'm like, when I was a little kid, I didn't catch the tongue-in-cheek shit. I thought that was all like really serious.
It was dead serious.
But I was
what's
also
cool is-
5. So
Right, but as an adult, when you look at it at another level, and you have Catwoman,
yeah. Oh, dude.
and all the female villains were hot.
Uh-huh.
They were super hot. And Yvonne Craig as Batgirl, chef's kiss to curvy girls. I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah, look up Yvonne Craig, Batgirl, and you're like, I mean, she was built Ford tough. That's all I want to say. Why did I say that? I don't know. But yeah, no, she was awesome. Batgirl.
She was. Could you pull up that article? It's, I don't know, it's like a mirror article. So let me know if it looks weird to you.
Is it the one you
Well,
put in
but that's
private
fine.
chat?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. CEO Bob Iger slashes Disney stake by 80%. And this comes from 24/7 Wall Street. All right. Investors can learn much by paying attention to how corporate insiders handle positions in their own companies. People may sell shares for various reasons. By the way, and somebody pointed this out on Geeks and Gamers Daily. Zuckerberg, a bunch of CEOs have sold off a huge amount of their shares recently. So something's about
Really?
Something's
Did they
about
see
to go
something
down.
coming?
Oh, yes, of course. Well, remember when Bob Iger just all of a sudden stepped down right before COVID?
Right. It's like they knew something was going to happen.
That was the moment I knew, oh shit, like this could be real. Because we've heard these things before with the bird flu and stuff. I digress. People may sell shares for various reasons, including buying a house, paying for college, or getting ready for retirement. Generally, they buy for just one reason. They expect to make more money. Often, one of the largest and best informed shareholders is any company is the chief executive officer. Let's see whether Walt Disney Company CEO Bob Iger has been increasing or decreasing his shares over the past year and whether he knows something we don't, which I guarantee you he does. What to know about Disney? Disney operates as an entertainment company worldwide. It produces and distributes film and television, blah, 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 blah. We all know this. Okay. Stop padding your fucking article.
They got to get the word count.
They got to get the word count. Yeah, get down to
get the word count up.
All right. Good God. Okay, the company posted $88.9 billion in revenue and has a market capitalization near $197.5 billion. The stock is up 5.5% from a year ago because Bob bullshitted a bunch of fucking low information investors. There's Taylor Swift, Fortnite. My kid likes the Fortnite. My kid likes the video games.
The Fortnite.
The Fortnite. By the way, when pressed, when asked when the Fortnite deal was going to go down, Bob Iger said, "Well, it won't take years, but it might take a couple." He couldn't answer the question. Because they just fucking announce shit. That's all they do. Buying or selling. 1 year ago, Iger owned 1 million shares, worth $97.2 million. On last look, he owns less than 187,000 shares, a decline of about 844,000 or so shares. The value of the stake plunged around 80.2% to more than 19.2 million. The question that may be foremost in many investors' minds is whether CEO Bob Iger is prepared to pack it in and let someone else take up the reins of reviving Disney, which, considering the year he's had, but that, I think his ego is way too fucking big to let that happen. But that's just me. I'm not a financial analyst. But of course, as mentioned, insiders sell shares for a variety of reasons. Time will tell if Iger is thinking of whether he knows something or we don't. Well, I think along with the other CEOs, including Zuckerberg, selling shares, I just think there's probably a correction coming, and we're long overdue. You can stop sharing the article now. We are long overdue for a correction, especially since our country printed a bunch of fucking money during COVID that has zero to back it. I mean, I think everybody knows that. And what's interesting is we're seeing certain states booming right now and certain states falling apart, which happens. It varies. It happens. But usually when there's a good economy, everybody starts going up. And what we have now is not a good economy, but we do have one in Texas. Pretty fucking good here. Pretty good here. Pretty good in Florida. Pretty good in Tennessee. Wonder what those states have in common. You know, so we are seeing what, by the way, I like this. I love that we're seeing a more focus on states and decentralizing power. Let's fucking do it all day long. Let's go. And California's falling apart. There's another Newsom recall. It's going to fail. It's such a waste of time. But I mean, do it to if you want to give him another black eye. But California is a failed state. They have mail-in ballots, so he will not lose another recall.
You have no idea how bad it is, Gary. It's like we had this surplus of money. Now it's $100 billion in debt. It used to be. I really think that things have flipped because California was. I remember before I moved here, it was this bastion of amazing ideas that were sort of tested in California and then made their way across the country. Yep. And I remember being so impressed. This is in the 80s, so forgive me. You could make a right turn at a red light or a stop sign after you stopped. Yep. That was so innovative because previous to that, if you went through a red light, you would get, if you made a right turn on a red light, you went through a red light. Well, but California's like, no, more logically speaking, we're going to be common sense. If you're at a red light, you're stopped. The traffic intersection's clear. You can make a right turn. So I know that sounds so crazy, but these are like common sense, good ideas that California, and by the way, was a red state when Reagan was governor and then became president for 2 terms. It
was a red state until about, it would go back and forth till Arnold. And then the Democratic Party did the redistricting, and just the fix was in at that point.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. it's disgusting. But no, but like now, like honestly, if you're being objective, to me, objectivity or just common sense is not a left or right. It's just, like this is and it's mainly based on data and not based on emotion. And you just look at how bad California is, and I really, what I just hope is that he does not become a national figure.
California was under the impression that they were going to be California forever. Like people in San Francisco, when I was in San Francisco, I'm like, this place is going to become Detroit. And they're just like, you're high. You're crazy. There's too much money here. It's too nice. The land is too expensive. Blah, 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 blah. Guess what it's becoming? Detroit.
Well, okay, because I follow a couple of accounts that are in San Francisco that talk about just everything happening. You probably know, like in the center of downtown, there's this giant Macy's that's closing.
It's gone. It's near Union Square.
Yeah. That area. I remember whenever I would go up for like WonderCon, I would always go to San Francisco once a year for something, a convention or a mini long weekend vacation. San Francisco was great. Walkable city, really fun, lots of cool bars, restaurants. It was just like, it was a cool scene. It is. I mean, I have friends that randomly will say, oh my God, I was in San Francisco. It's a dead city. And like, it's horrific. Like how dramatically it changed. Why are people not accountable for this? Why is there no, like, it really, this bothers me with like the mainstream media. And I'm talking about local news and they are the ones that should be holding politicians accountable. They don't ask Newsom a meaningful question. They're ballless. I'm talking about the local media that should be doing its job.
Well, I mean, San Francisco City Council has socialists on it now. Like, that's it. When I it made it very easy to leave. Like,
you saw that thing where the woman who's like the part of the voting committee, whatever. She's Chinese.
She's Chinese national. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just how is this logical? Defies all logic.
I posted a news thing that just came across my feed a few days ago, and I normally don't post political stuff, but this one was so fucking funny I had to do it. So remember when the Supreme Court put basically the abortion thing back to the states where it should be? I mean, even some people back in the day were saying, yeah, this isn't going to hold up. And once it gets scrutinized, it's going to go back to the states. So however you feel about it, it went back to the states. And lawfully, that's the way it should have been. But San Francisco decided, like, we're going to ban doing business with any state that doesn't respect LGBTQ plus rights or doesn't agree with us on our woke politics. They had to lift the ban because the few states that were left, by the way, they banned 30 states. The few states that were left jacked up their prices on them. So they couldn't afford toilet paper or beds. And they wanted to, in Noe Valley, they wanted to build a fucking bathroom, a public bathroom. It was going to cost $1.7 million because they wouldn't do business with Nevada where it would have cost like $100,000, which is still too fucking much for an outdoor bathroom. But and they had to lift their ban. But now it's the companies have to basically, and the rules are insane. And it's not going to change anything. It's not. And so your San Francisco values are just going to be dodging shit on the street still. Apparently, Melissa was just there, and they cleaned it up a little bit. And we all know what the impetus for that was. It was fucking the Chinese.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name? Winnie the Pooh came over, and they cleaned up the city for Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Let them fail. I say, let them crash. What movie is that from? They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash. Chat will know. Know.
I don't know off the top.
Airplane.
The
Airplane.
first airplane.
So Bob Iger sold 80% of his stock. That should tell you exactly where Disney is. I don't know how this, I think the proxy vote's in April, and I think a lot of people are hanging on to their stock just to vote, which I think is fine. Like, absolutely do that. And by the way, vote him in just for chaos. Like, if it creates a little chaos for Bob Iger, I'm for it. But I'm also for Bob Iger getting everything he wants. You know, Robert Meyer Burnett, I was watching his stream last night. It's a great stream. It's a good guy. pointed out something obvious. Deadpool 3 is not an MCU film. It's made by the MCU. They're going to call it an MCU film. It's a Fox X-Men film.
Oh, right.
It is a Fox X-Men film. It is not an MCU film, just like Spider-Man No Way Home was not an MCU film. But I'll argue it was more MCU than Deadpool 3 is going to be, because that is a Fox X-Men movie. That is the only movie they're releasing. Actually, Sony's releasing more movies than they are. We still have Kraven and Venom 3. Kraven's the one that pisses me off, because he's in my top 3 Amazing Spider-Man villains. Top 3. Green Goblin, Doc Ock. Venom's like 4 for me. Okay. I like Venom as a villain. But Kraven as an anti-hero is such, it's almost as retarded as Madam Web being made into a movie, if you know anything about this. And it goes back to what Patrick Bet David was trying to figure out with Gina Carano. And I would love, get Drinker, get Jeremy, get me, somebody from the chat to talk to Patrick Bet David and just kind of break down the last 5 years culturally in this, because he still doesn't know. He still doesn't know.
They're really good on the issues where they're informed, but when it comes to stuff they're not informed. But like, at least they're not as out of touch as, I think the most out of touch person in that space is Bill Maher. Oh, every once in a while he'll hit on something where it's just like, oh, finally you woke up, but he's so out of touch. Not just out of touch, he's always been out of touch because he's been rich forever.
He
lives in a version of LA that he gets to see. So from what he sees, I believe him when he says crime's not bad in LA. Like, of course it's not bad, because you don't go to those places.
He's a stoner. He's a fucking stoner.
He has a driver. Guy probably doesn't drive a car.
Yep.
Okay. He has a driver that drives him everywhere.
He's got riders.
Goes to restaurants that are at the penthouse or top tower of every hotel.
Well, he used to hang out at the Playboy Mansion every fucking night. That was his thing.
Well, to be fair, I've been to the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah, but did you hang out there every night?
No, but plebes like me somehow can get in. I went twice.
I would go. I'm not saying don't go, but the man is old,
right?
Not married, no kids, gets fucking stoned all the time. No, he doesn't know shit. And he's got 21 writers. I'm probably over exaggerating. He's probably got 11, but
he does this thing called Club Random, which is, I don't know why I watch it, but if he has a good guest, I watch it. And PBD was on there, Patrick Bet David.
Yeah.
And he was making fun of Bill, and Bill didn't know he was being made fun of.
No, he didn't.
So it was a really good episode, but I felt bad. Like, obviously Bill didn't know much about Patrick Bet David, except for the fact, because Bill's a star effer, except for the fact that like PBD has a big audience, has a huge audience. So it's like, I'm going to have this person who has a huge audience. You'll be on my show. I'll, by osmosis, I'll get a big audience for this episode. So he really didn't care or know anything about PBD. And he was clearly uninformed on issues. And it was sad to see. That's one of his worst episodes. But Bill Maher gets good guests. It's just the interviews are insufferable. And when he gets like super on his high horse, I mean, he is definitely he is the dictionary definition of your limousine liberal, right? Like, he is so smelling his own farts and such an elitist. I went to a dinner of, this is like in the 90s. I don't know how I got invited. It was Interesting People in LA. And Peter Bart was there. He was like, at the time, he was like the head of Variety. I did Film Threat. Bill Maher was there, and he brought a prostitute. She was clearly a prostitute. It was a young black woman who was dressed like she was going
like Starfire and Teen Titans, the Teen Titans show.
Yeah, she was dressed like she was going to work at the Spearmint Rhino. That's all I'm saying.
I've been there, by the way.
She didn't talk. She didn't say a word. She just sat next to Bill, and he looked like he was so bored and couldn't be bothered with talking to anybody.
No,
I felt weird being there. I'm like, what am I doing?
He's a fucking poser. He's a fucking poser. Maybe back in the day. Remember, he got canceled for some hot takes about 9/11 and the Iraqi War, which I don't necessarily agree with or disagree with. I don't think he should have been canceled for him. Right. I think he didn't he call like our troops cowards though? I wouldn't have done that.
No. He said that the people who pulled off 9/11 were brave. It had
the Bush administration. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. It took courage for the terrorists to do what they did.
I'm only not joking at all.
Yeah. But that was the take that he had. And I remember, I thought it was a bad take too. Like, what? These guys, it took courage. They were brave to do that.
Yeah, that's what he said. And then he just got an HBO show out of it.
Right.
But back then, folks, I don't know if you remember, he called himself a libertarian. He did.
Right.
He did. Yeah, it's such a fucking joke. He's just a poser, and he's got writers. And I'll use his audio once in a while because once in a while, like his writers will write something that makes sense. But that's his writers writing something that makes sense. These aren't Bill Maher's takes at all.
Oh. Do you want to know a dirty secret about that show?
Sure.
And I only know this because one of the producers on that show.
Of course, you know that though.
Worked on a show that I did. So I did this show for FX. I was on a show called it was the X Show, which was FX's version of the Man Show, which was on Comedy Central. And I was the movie guy. It was my first regular gig in TV. This was like 99, 98, 99. Anyways, 90. So I came in every Friday and I did the movie reviews. And it was a segment called The Gory Details. And I got away with so much stuff because I just didn't care. I just was like, here's my script, whatever. They threw it on teleprompter. But they liked my segment so much. They're like, we want to develop a show around you. So we ended up doing a show. It lasted 6 months called The New Movie Show with Chris Gore. Okay. There might be clips on YouTube, whatever. So one of the producers who worked on Bill Maher, and I was excited. I'm like, let's just do politically incorrect, but we'll do it for movies. We'll have a variety of different pundits and reviewers, like different takes, and we'll just talk about the movies of the week.
It's a good idea.
And
somebody should do that.
Yeah. So in any case, it's FNT. That's what the show is now. And it's great. This was early days, but one of the producers was like, what they had this whole group of comedians and writers who would, by fax, send in jokes. And the jokes were not just for Bill. They were for the guests. So they'd pre-interview the guests. And they would say like, what is your opinion on this? And then what they would do is like, they would have these jokes from the comedians. If the joke was used on air, the comedian got paid. So when you see the quippy little things that the guests said, they didn't even come up with those things. They were all, and to me, it was like, this is why I grew to hate doing television. It was because I was very fortunate that when I came in with my gory details script or my opinion about something, it was my opinion. When I was on G4, DVDs Day, all that, that was like, these are my thoughts, whatever. You kind of distill it into notes on a card. And then I got 5 minutes to like rush through everything. But like, they would fax in these jokes. If the joke got used, they got paid. It was weird. So it's like all the guests were sort of fed these jokes like, okay, remember to say this if this happens. And it's all overproduced. That's why I think the secret sauce of YouTube being popular is it's not overproduced. We barely talk before the show. It's just like, oh, did you see this thing? Oh, or make sure you watch this. Sure. But like, there's no overproducing.
Remember Strike Force 5 when they were on strike? All the late night guys were doing podcasts and their cameras were framed wrong and their microphones sucked, and they were all trying to look humble. So they like went in their laundry room or so because they didn't want to show their palatial mansions. Like, go ahead and show your palatial mansion. Stop with this fake fucking humble shit. Show me the $6 million mansion. Impressive.
And then they were going to donate money to the writers that were on strike. I thought it was so fake, but this is everything. The veil has been lifted, right? We are Toto going behind the curtain, exposing the wizard. That's what has happened now. And it's happened with mainstream media, the late night talk shows that were always overproduced. But the people were really good at it. Like Jay Leno, whatever you think of Jay Leno, he faked what was effectively scripted out. And it's not scripted like there is a script and it's on teleprompter.
It's like bullet pointed.
Yeah, it's bullet pointed with like, there's this beat, there's this beat, there's this beat. You remember the story, and it's pre-produced. And what'll happen
Letterman was the best. Absolutely.
He was really good.
Back before he moved to CBS when he was at NBC.
What they did was, and what the mainstream media has been exposed is they fake authenticity.
Yes.
And I remember, like, just because I was an outsider, I was not involved in TV, and I had no aspirations to ever be on TV. I did one audition for a show called The X Show, and I was a stay-at-home dad when I was doing it, and I was writing a book, and I'm too busy writing a book. Like, and I think it was because I didn't give a shit at the audition that they're like, we want you. And I'm like, I'm really busy. I'm, my then wife has like the straight day job, and I'm writing a book. I'm really kind of too busy to do this. And the more I didn't want it, the more that they just kept, and then every job led to the next job and other people I met. And it was just sort of like, I don't want to do it, was kind of the whatever. That works in other things in life too. I'll say, I don't want to say, but all I'm saying, it wasn't like a tactic. It was legit. Like, I don't want to do this. I think it's because people that want to do those things are kind of desperate, and they want it so bad, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. But this is why I think YouTube is so wildly popular. You know,
well, once in a while there would be a reporter who works without a teleprompter, and those are usually the pretty or broadcaster. Those usually end up being the best ones.
Like Tucker.
Yeah. All right. People remember in San Diego, Uncle Ted Leitner never used a teleprompter. Sports guy, voice of the Padres for a long time. Never used teleprompter.
Who care and know about the 90+% of the people that talk on mainstream media have no clue what they're saying. It's all on teleprompter or cards. They have a little IFB in their ear telling them what to say or when to. And it's infuriating to watch someone like, I've never watched her show, but like Joy Reid is one of the worst. And whenever a clip of hers goes viral, she has a new haircut that looks like a fruit salad. It's so stupid. She has the dumbest hair of anyone on television. Am I wrong though on that?
No.
Horrible hair. And she does this thing. It's a tactic I notice on mainstream media where they're trying to have a conversation and they ask you a question and then cut you off as the person is trying to give a response. And it's a weird tactic of bullying, intimidation, and trying to frame the discussion. So the person who may have an intelligent point, this is why I think podcasts, 3-hour-long Joe Rogan conversations are so popular. And I don't know what it is with you and I when we get together, Gary, we talk about old man shit. Maybe it's because we're both Gen X, and I so identify and like bond with you over so many different things that like we talk like this. At some point, I'm sure we're going to talk nerd stuff and Dune, and we got that.
Well, I think we could talk about Dune right now.
Let's talk about Dune.
Let's talk about Dune.
I just prep me for tomorrow.
No, but like I think some of the audience, they get annoyed, and I understand, and you know, I just think it's the combination of like you and I, and like we've had a lot of experiences that are similar. I've got a really good. I went to jail once for a night. I spent a night in jail in Detroit, and it's a great story. It's a great story. I was 19 years old, and I got in a high-speed chase with undercover cops.
And you only spent a night in jail. Those are the days.
A night in jail.
Now you won't even be arrested.
Multiple times, Gary.
Oh my God. It's such a good story. Me and my friend Seth.
Save it for the book. I'm saving it for the book. Yeah. What do I have stories of running from the cops? Yes. Lots of them.
Oh my God.
A lot of times I got away. Those are the stories I really don't want to tell still. I got to make sure I'm still far away enough.
I didn't get away, but it's a good story. I'll tell it someday. But I look, the audience, I know sometimes they get annoyed when we talk a little too political.
Listen, once you get away from the cops for the first time, it gives you a little hope. Gives you a little false hope. It's hard to outrun a radio. Okay. Just saying. Hard to outrun a radio, but it's possible. You got to know the lay of the land. Like when I'm running from them in my neighborhood, there's no way they're going to find me. No way. No freaking way. But let's talk about Dune. Let's talk about Dune Part 2.
And popcorn buckets.
I was at an AMC. They didn't have them. But they're probably sold out. They're probably just sold out.
A lot of people have been selling them on eBay, and they're going for like $80.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
They're like $15.
I don't need it that much. I've got plenty of shit. Patrick Bet David thinks
Where
it's
should
weird.
I put my bucket? Right here?
On your lap. It's okay.
Right here on my lap, just the entire time.
You asked.
Next Friday, okay?
All right. Chris, you start. Spoiler free, by the way. This is going to be spoiler free.
Okay, spoiler free.
Yeah.
I'm in two minds about the film, right? There's the film fan, and I'll say this: like, I am a fan of cinema first, and then I love literature. Okay, but I first read Dune when I was 14 years old. Perfect age to read it. It's because the lead character is 15 in the book, and fell in love with that book. It changed my life. It blew my mind. I read through God Emperor in high school and just loved the Dune series. So I'm in two minds about it. And then when I saw the David Lynch Dune 1984, which I was right out of high school, it disappointed me so much. Disappointed me because it's 2 hours and it's barely the cliff notes of the book. It disappointed me so much. I was so angry about it. It led to me doing the first issue of Film Threat, which came out in February 1985. And I put a parody of Dune on the cover because I was so angry that my favorite director, David Lynch, had ruined my favorite book. So at the time, now I've since come to appreciate and love that movie for what it is. There's better versions. There's of course the Sci-Fi Channel series, which I have the Blu-ray here, right there. Sci-Fi Channel
I
series.
didn't hate that.
It's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
obviously anemic in terms of the effects, but there's some good performances. William Hurt, the actor who played the Baron. So I've been waiting for this movie for a long time, and I'm like I say, I'm more of a cinema guy than a literature guy, but Dune is special to me. And to finally see the tone of Dune, the tone of the book captured, is really what this film does, and the spectacle. And if you see it in IMAX, which I had an opportunity to do on Sunday, holy S, it is just epic spectacle. It is, and I have a lot of nitpicks. I have a problem with one particular character, which I'm sure you have the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a very good beginning into Dune. And what it does is, some of the, riding the worm, the spice harvesters, the character, it's an ensemble film, right? So Paul Atreides, yes, he's the lead. There's no girl boss stuff in this, but it's an ensemble with great actors, and it's epic in scale. We haven't seen a movie like this in so long, not since Lord of the Rings, and it's not better than the Two Towers.
The Bene Gesserits are girl bosses, but they're evil. They're fucking evil.
They're evil.
First thing I would do if I was a leader is kill the Bene Gesserits.
Right.
Fucking-
Like, they're too manipulative, but they're accurate to the book. This is accurate to the book. So I'll accept that. So I'm in two minds. But here's what it does: it raises the bar. It raises the bar. Now I've seen it twice. I'm going to see it a third time. It has to be seen on the big screen. It's got to be seen on the big screen. If you can, be sure to see it in IMAX.
Yeah.
At the very least, if you can do that. And there are tickets. Tickets are sold out through like 2 weeks from now. I'm trying to get tickets for just like an evening show.
I think you can get the regular theaters, but good luck getting like the higher end theaters and the IMAX theaters at this point. And it's projected to have 170 million opening weekend worldwide. I think it'll be above that personally. I think it's going to be like 200 million.
I think they're underestimating it on purpose.
I think they are too.
It pays off everything. Whatever you thought about Dune Part 1, some people thought it was slow, not a lot happened, whatever. Look, that was all set up in world building. Now they're done. The world building, we've done the world building. Boom, we're going to launch right into it. And there's so many, when I think about the things I loved about it, I really love the score. I think it's better than the first film. The Harkonnens are so, Austin Butler is chilling. Austin Butler makes Kylo Ren look like a bitch. He's so, and the movie is borderline R-rated in the sense that, like, if you just pulled out and showed more, it's gruesome, a lot of the deaths, and I like that. It's a lot of things that are suggested.
Yeah, they covered up a lot of the, even if it was in black and white, I think they could have done it, but they wanted to keep that PG-13. God, PG-13 is so pussy compared to what, I was watching like fucking Naked Guns PG-13, and there's like nudity in the credits. There's like, I'm like,
Right.
those are the days. Remember PG? There was PG boobs in Airplane.
Yeah. But first of all, okay, I love the film as a film. As a fan of the books, and this is my question to you, Gary, I like it less. They cut out things I don't want to say spoiler stuff, so no spoilers. But they cut out a lot of stuff from the book that was even in the David Lynch movie. It's not in there. So a lot of things were excised. Chani as a character is completely different. They made her a skeptic. They are star-crossed lovers like Romeo and Juliet. And in the movie, and I hate the last shot of this film. I hate it. I think it's so lame.
Dude.
It bugged me so much. Like, what? It kind of bookends, the beginning of the first movie is.
There's going to be people who are going to argue with me on that. That was modernism creeping in. That was modernity.
You're not wrong.
Straight up modernity creeping in. That would be my only nitpick of it.
Yeah, that part, it was just like, it's the very end that bugs me. But I'll just ask you this, Gary. Like, okay, Lord of the Rings is probably the only, and I don't think they're comparable. They're two different things. I guess you could compare them.
They're not in the same universe. Stop.
Different things. Fantasy. This one's science fiction.
But like quality wise, they're not even comparable. They're not.
Right.
They're just not. They're really good for now. They're really, really fucking good. They will go down as classics. I think people will enjoy them. But if you're going to tell me that people are going to be watching Dune and doing Dune rewatches and just, look how much people talk about Lord of the Rings every fucking day on Twitter, like every day. It's not even the same. Still really fucking good though.
And it did. The other things that kind of bugged me were how much they were setting up a third one. It felt they were setting up, like, especially that last shot, that's to lead to a third movie, which Denis Villeneuve says he's going to make in 10 years, which is
don't they have to? I mean, I didn't read the book. So do they need to age people up for the third book without spoiling anything?
It takes place 15 years later. So
okay.
Alia, who is his sister, she's like 16. So she's a teenager. She's older on the teen side, and he's in his like 30s, mid 30s. Okay. So, and they even compressed the timeline to 6 months. This is like the events in Dune Part 2 take place over 6 months. In the book, it's 3 years, and a lot more happens. So in my book mind, I'm like, oh, they left this out. They left this. And I had like this, we have this new show that's a complete ripoff of Tuesday Night's Main Event and FNT called Versus. It's just a group show. It's a, format. You get a lot of different opinions. So I wasn't trying to rip off FNT. I was just like, I want to get different opinions.
So rip it off. I don't care.
Yeah. Like Danica was on and Nerd Cookies.
It's not like I invented the panel show. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, no, but what I'm saying is like
Jennifer Lawrence did.
Jennifer Lawrence did. Thank you.
Jennifer Lawrence did that.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're a fan of the books, there's a lot of things. And it's like, but if you're not a fan of the books, you don't know what's not there. So Gary, I have to ask you, when you saw Lord of the Rings, and because I hear a lot of Lord of the Rings fans, and I'm like a normie, right? So when I watch Lord of the Rings, I'm like, that was effing amazing. And Two Towers, kind of my favorite. I know people say Return of the King, but Two Towers is just so.
When Two Towers is epic. Yes, I had.
Like, how did you feel about Lord of the Rings, the movies?
Okay.
Being a book fan, and that's kind of probably how I feel about Dune.
My expectations were so fucking low. Like I saw the trailer and I wasn't super impressed with the trailers for some reason. Just being honest, I'm like, I had the lowest of expectations. I'm like, if we get a sci-fi level, and we're talking sci-fi back in early 2000 movie, like movie of the week version of Lord of the Rings, I'll be happy, quite frankly. And when I walked out of it, I was like, oh, Jesus, that's Star Wars. Like, we just saw something really fucking special. Was I disappointed? I'm not disappointed about Tom Bombadil. I just wasn't. The Barrow Downs, yes. That was probably the most disappointed I was, because that's how the hobbits get their swords. And like that. That's the thing that bothered me the most. But it didn't, like, take away from the movie. Watching this movie, I've tried to get through the book 4 times. Once in prison, right? And I couldn't get through it in prison. I'm like, I can't get through this book, dude. That beginning is just so fucking boring. I'm sorry, book fans, can't do it. But if you love it, that's great. But I like the David Lynch version is with all its weirdness. I thought the TV show was fine, so I know enough about the story. I I thought it was fucking really good. Really good. Like 8 out of 10, really good. My nitpicks are, I think the pacing in the beginning's a little slow. These are the only problems I have. Not enough Harkonnens. Yes, they had Fade Routha, and he was fucking Austin Butler and Javier Bardem fucking killed it. Like they were the movie. They stole the movie. People, Stilgart, like kind of became my favorite character because he was played so fucking well. Right. So there's like great, and Timothée Chalamet was really fucking good in it. Zendaya is fucking terrible. She's terrible. She's like a girl you pick. She's like, let's get a girl from a rom-com from California and put her in Dune. And it was a California girl in Dune, and it just didn't work. So did
you buy the romance? They had no chemistry.
No. That's another thing is I think Mega Geek out there had the best. This is what, again, 8 out of 10 movie. I'm going to see it for a third time. I think it'll probably be the best movie of the year. Clinical. He used the word clinical, and I'm like, yes, it's a little clinical. There's not enough characters that I could that I really wanted to root for and stuff. So if anybody wants to compare this to Lord of the Rings, don't, because Lord of the Rings goes like 10 characters deep that you care about. This one, maybe one, maybe two, maybe one. It was a technical achievement. 10 out of 10 visuals, fucking 10 out of 10. Like for $120 million, it is a cinematic achievement. You have to see this. You have to see this in IMAX. It's awesome. Especially if you love sci-fi, the ships look fucking great. Everything looked great. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I like now after watching it twice. I'm kind of sticking with, I like the world building from the first one. My problem with the first one was how it ended, and Zendaya. And my problem with this one is little pacing. And the battle at the end. It's not a big battle. I kept on hearing 2 towers, and I'm like, it's 5 minutes.
Well, that's coming from like people like Grace Randolph, who
I know, but like I was expecting something a little longer than that.
It felt short to all that buildup, and the third act seems like they rushed through it. Like all these things have to happen, so we're just going to have them happen quickly. What's amazing about Two Towers is there is a story to the battle, and there are characters, there are subplots and sub B stories to the battle, where it's like the whole battle itself. I'm talking about second half of Two Towers, which I feel like I just need to watch. Just from that moment when the ladders start to come up and you hear the music, and I mean, I'm getting chills just thinking about it like that. And I feel like they didn't build a story on the battle, right? They could have done that, where I felt it needed, that battle should have been probably 20 minutes longer with B stories in this. And we follow this character, and this character meets a terrible end, or this character has a goal and almost gets there. Or like there just wasn't. And with Two Towers did that so well, where the whole battle itself has like stories and layers and B stories and this and people we care about and the geography of it, which Peter Jackson did so well. So it's like, we're here, we're in the middle of this.
You knew where you are. You knew how much time was passing. Yes. They introduced the Rohirrim in like 6 minutes, and you know everything you need to know about their culture, about the main characters, everything. They just, it's a masterclass in how you do that. Now, it's not fair to compare Dune to the greatest trilogy ever made. But as far as like a film made in modern era, absolutely one of the best sci-fi movies of the last 10 years, without a doubt, it's not even fucking close. And yeah, I think, I've seen Nerd Cookie's reaction. I've seen your reaction. A lot of people are a little upset with the book stuff, but you know what? That can come through to somebody who hasn't read the source material. But that being said, like I was engaged in the story, and I definitely wasn't bored watching it again. And I'll go and watch it again in IMAX, and that's where you have to see it. Like, you just make the time to go see it in IMAX. This is a theater experience. Like, even if you have a pretty fucking good home theater, it's not going to do it justice. No. This thing was made for a massively huge screen.
Yeah. And I went and I saw Tenet last night at a screening. Shout out to the Metzger family who I met there that like watch me on YouTube.
I was gonna say, any relation to Kurt Metzger?
No.
Okay.
But I hope I remember the name correctly. Anyways, they showed a clip from Dune. It was a different scene. It was the Spice Harvester scene with Josh Brolin. They showed that scene before they showed Tenet because you're kind of advertising IMAX is the format. IMAX, that theater is always full. The AMC Universal, you have to go on like a Tuesday. And I went on a Tuesday to see Tenet. Every seat was full. I mean, full. And the seats are not good unless you're in row G and above, which kind of sucks. But God, watching that scene, that Spice Harvester scene, oh my God, it was so cool. Like I got to see it on that screen. That's the true IMAX, not some of these other screens.
Not the FOMAX, the real IMAX.
FOMAX.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 70 millimeter. So
I want to
yeah.
watch the 70 millimeter one. It's just so far away from here.
you have to go. You have to make the trek. You
But
have to make the
definitely
journey.
like watch it this weekend. Go get your Fleshlight popcorn bucket. Enjoy the experience. Everybody, like I was in a packed house that was enthusiastic as hell, that were clapping during parts.
Really?
Javier Bardem brought a levity that
Yes.
that it desperately needed. So it's not super dry. He's actually really charming and funny in the movie, which like that dude, that's just what it needs. Because it's such a
that's what Mahdi would say.
yeah, I know. It's so
Like-
fucking funny. It's so good. So like, yeah, that guy's great. He's fucking great.
he's
Definitely,
awesome.
definitely go see it. You'll enjoy the hell out of it. You'll have a good time. Denis Villeneuve said what he said about dialogue. I think it got lost in translation.
Whatever. Like
yeah.
people overreact to these clips or like quotes. It's kind of lame.
Well,
But,
I
like,
mean, I think Mahler's tweets in response to that are brilliant. Like absolutely
oh,
brilliant.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't? He's all,
Uh-huh.
hey, show me an, because to give context, he was saying TV has invaded film. And if it ended there, I could not agree more because they've turned film into content. There's so much exposition and tell, not show. Agree with that. But then he started saying something about dialogue. And again, English is not his first language. So maybe he meant something different. Don't know. But he said nobody remembers dialogue from a movie. They remember an image. So Mahler's tweet in response was post an image where you know the fucking dialogue from that movie. And he posted, I am your father. Say hello to my little friend, and I went a little further and I'm like, remember like how the dialogue built a character with like one little line of dialogue. And I put White Shores with Gandalf and the opening scene of The Godfather where Vito, is that guy's basically disrespecting Vito because he wouldn't talk to him forever until he needed something. That was fucking great. And of course I put Roy Batty. And then, when Spock dies, just that's all dialogue. That's all dialogue. But the image, that dialogue. That was the whole point of his tweet. And I thought that was really good. But yeah, he could say he's French. They're fucking contrarian.
Is he French Canadian? Can someone? I think he's French. He may be French Canadian.
Which makes it worse.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But,
Wow.
yeah, he's very French. But like,
Perry, I love you.
This is what he does to staff. I'm just saying.
the whole point is he focuses on image first, and then it's like, oh yeah, the dialogue's there, right, to support the story.
Yeah. And
I got what he was talking
well,
about.
but then he talked about making like a completely like dialogue-free movie. It's like I'd watch that. I'd certainly be down with that. But
Yeah, why not?
Razorfist pointed out correctly that this is the man who did a sequel to arguably one of the most noir films ever, Blade Runner. And noir is not solely imagery. As a matter of fact, it's dialogue. It's dialogue. And that's why I like the voiceover version. I like the one I saw in the theaters with nobody else. And I like the voiceover. I think it really does lend to the movie.
You were in an empty theater when you saw Blade Runner when you were a kid. So was I. I remember like sitting here, there's like maybe a few other people scattered in the theater. I'm like, well, this is weird. I'm seeing a movie kind of in an empty theater and Harrison Ford is in it. Why
I know.
not, not more people?
Well, the trailer made it look like an action movie. All right. If
Right.
you watch the original trailer, they used the Vangelis. I've always called him Vangelis. The ending theme. So they use that over the trailer and they make it look like this fucking action movie, and it's not. And it was just, it's one of those rare occurrences where it absolutely was too far ahead of its time. But it
got mixed reviews.
Got mixed reviews, but man, as a 12-year-old watching it with my friend Doug, we walked out of there just like, whoa, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, we were fucking blown away. And blown away at the reaction, just like, what? You kidding me? And it was great. It did our heart good back in the late 80s, early 90s. They re-released it, remember, in theaters, and they had a VHS director's cut, and that really got the ball rolling on Blade Runner again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I think this will be, I think it'll get some, fuck the Academy Awards, but I think it'll get some nominations. Kind of can't believe the first one didn't do better because it wasn't in theaters all the way.
That was a lot of, but like, I feel like when it comes to technical awards, it's going to sweep all of those.
Sweep them.
Cinematography, VFX, all of that. I think Nolan's probably glad that this movie was pushed because it would have been competition for technical awards for Oppenheimer. And I think you're going to get supporting maybe for both Austin and Javier Bardem. They certainly earned it.
And Game of Thrones fans who had not read the Dune books, who had never seen the movies or anything, when they go and see this, they're going to see all the influence that Dune has on A Song of Ice and Fire.
There's a lot of influence.
Daenerys is Paul.
Yes.
Daenerys is Paul, straight up.
And the dragons are worms.
Yep.
So, yeah. George R.R. Martin, and hasn't he admitted that he kind of lifted a lot from Frank Herbert?
He lifted from Dune, Elric, H.P. Lovecraft. I mean, it's like his fan fiction, right? He's never been quiet about that, but like the Targaryens are straight up from Elric, and Conan too, the Dothraki. You know, it's a mix of everything he loved, and there's tons of Lovecraftian stuff in the background, absolutely, and it works.
Nice.
It works.
Nice.
I saw first 2 episodes of Shogun. Talked about that a little bit earlier. Really good. Really good.
I need to jump on the train. And see it. I had my buddy Alex was telling me about it. He's just like, dude, it's so good. It's so. He was comparing it to Game of Thrones. Is that accurate, or?
I wouldn't compare it to Game of Thrones in the beginning, but I would say, like, as far as like quality TV shows that are not filled with modernity, that as far as I can remember stays pretty close to the spirit of the book. I honestly haven't read the book in 30 years, but and loved the original Richard Chamberlain Shogun. 2 episodes are out now, and I think it's only 4 episodes. It's only 4.
Really?
It's only 4 episodes. Well, at least it might be more, but if you go to the thing, it says like these 2 episodes are coming out. It could be more. I don't know.
So
But
it's a mini series.
It's a mini series. Yeah, it's not a TV series. This is a mini series.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's really fucking well made. And what stood out for me, music. The music is fucking amazing in it. It's really good. Wow. But yeah, performances are good. You got to read a lot because all the Japanese is in Japanese.
Oh, there are 10 episodes.
Oh, so there's going to be 10. So, okay. It's going to take a while.
April 23rd is the finale.
Okay.
So 10 episodes.
So if you look at the list, it only goes 2 ahead then. I wasn't sure.
Right.
But there's 2 out right now. And really, really good start. Game of Thrones start? No. But I mean, it could end up being like, this could be the best series of the year. But like 2 episodes in, they're setting up the world, introducing you to Blackthorn, and and you pretty much know what's going on in the first episode, and it doesn't feel rushed and
good.
Yeah, get to see. There's a gruesome thing that happens in the first episode. That's all I'll say. It's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty gory, but the sex is sort of there's
boobs.
Is not a big part of
There's a boob.
There's a boob.
you get to see a boob.
I'll take it.
Yeah, you get to see a boob.
Boob is good.
Boob is good. So yeah, I would definitely say check it out. However you want to check it out. If you want to Tortuga it, do whatever you like. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Wait, was it my boob?
I don't feel comfortable talking about it.
In
Yes.
the show?
No,
What?
it was a body double. You refused nudity and all of
Yeah.
because X-Ray Girl played all the female characters in
Right.
Shogun, but she demanded a body double. So
Yeah, it wasn't gonna be me. That's why I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
yeah,
Okay.
okay,
It got quiet
That's
for a
it.
second.
it did. Well, you know, I think we're inappropriate enough with X-Ray Girl.
I was gonna say, like, I'm going to the Nerdrotic HR department.
Oh, Ryan.
What's up, Ryan Kinnell?
Yeah, I know. You think you'll let me off with a pamphlet?
He'll
warning?
say, do better, Gore.
Yeah, it was a booby trap. Thank you,
Say I'm gonna do my Dune review. It's not gonna be it's gonna be spoiler free. I don't do many spoiler free reviews, but like for something I like that I just want people to go see for themselves, I keep them pretty spoiler free. I just tell you what I thought of the film. It's not perfect.
No.
I love that I get clapped back on like not saying it's 10 out of 10. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's just not. In my
For
opinion.
real specific reasons that the
Real
third act,
specific
last
reasons.
shot,
Yeah.
the last shot.
Oh,
The last shot.
but god damn, it's good. And you know, it's just nice to have a good movie, and I think it's gonna kill. I think it's gonna do better than I thought it would in the box office.
Well, here's the thought. And the worst thing is that like it's not even going to be in IMAX screens for very long, because I think the next big movie that comes out is the Magical American Society of Magical. That's
Wait,
coming out on the 15th. But then you've got Frozen Empire Ghostbusters and the Godzilla movie. Like March is a weird month. March feels like a June.
so
to
this
me.
for YouTubers, this will be the movie that probably gets the most
Right.
views.
The American Society of Magical Negroes.
I need to get that clip from you so I can play
I can loan it to you. It's fun. I mean, we can say it, but it's funnier when Eric says it.
Right.
Or when Quarter Black says it. So I want Ghostbusters to be really good. I'm rooting like fucking hell for this movie, even though it has stupid fucking basic bitch hire Kamnani Manjani and fucking Patton Oswalt. It's fucking God. And the family's so generic. Like Paul Rudd, fine. Paul Rudd being a Ghostbuster, I'm fine with that. But then like going with the kids and the family, and they're kind of generic, especially the mom. She's like, why is she there? She brings no presence at all. She was there to be Egon's daughter, but that's it. So I'm curious about that. Everybody's going to see the old Ghostbusters. They're borrowing a lot from the animated series. Of course, not giving any credit to Michael J. Straczynski. But I want it to do good. We'll see. I'm skeptical.
The
Godzilla movie looks like fucking garbage.
Garbage. Utter garbage. They did Baby Yoda, but it's Baby Kong.
It's Baby Kong. It's, oh my God.
So stupid.
It's so written by algorithm, by marketing data. I can't even say algorithm. It's marketing data. By bad marketing data. It's like people like baby things. People like the Avengers. And it looks like CGI shit, especially in IMAX. It looked even worse. What a fucking joke. So
I hate it. I every time that trailer comes on, I'm like, especially that final shot.
I don't even think I'm gonna go and see it. Like I can't be fucking bothered by that movie. No. The superior Godzilla movie has already come out.
Right? How do you release a Godzilla movie in the shadow of Godzilla -1 and not change it?
Other than say, Eastern media versus Western media. Which way, Western man? Which way you gonna go?
Right. Obviously, Japan knows what's up.
Japan knows what's up. Japan's so hot right now.
Japan's so hot right now. But I've never really like any incarnation of Godzilla done by the United States has never been good.
No.
Even that the Matthew Broderick one, I hated that when it came out because they changed the character design so much, and then it just went to freaking raptors ripped off from Jurassic Park. It was bad.
Bad. Yeah, but March like is kind of front. It's weird that you brought that up because it is front loaded, and then like there's more big releases coming out in March than there is in, I believe, June, or the same amount, which is ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. Well, also,
why are
Chris,
so many big movies coming out in March? Why?
Dune is the first big movie to come out this year.
Yeah.
It's the first real fucking movie to come out in theaters this year, as far as tentpole driving people to the theaters. It's been 2 months. We're 2 months in. They got nothing.
But Ghostbusters seems like a June movie. What is this with like? What I'm saying is, does someone know something we don't know? Why are so many?
It was
big movies
delayed.
coming-
It was delayed because
Right.
of the strike. It was supposed to come out in the winter, which would have been much better. And for some reason, they couldn't push it to summer because of quarterly earnings. I mean, I have no inside,
really?
but that would be the only logical reason to not put this out in fucking June or July, because it would be that's a better time. But they needed to delay it because it was supposed to come out last year, at the end of last year around Christmas. And I guess the next best thing, but we can't move it past that, is March. But March is such a weird March. You could have hits in March. There have been big hits in March. They're often weird. Like The Matrix came out in March.
Yeah.
I think Alice in Wonderland. Do you know that made $1 billion? That shitty Alice in Wonderland movie by Tim Burton.
Both those
That
movies
came
are
out in March.
god-awful.
Yeah.
God awful.
So you can have movies that come out in March that do really well.
Yeah.
But you're right. It makes no fucking sense at all. But they're dummies. I mean, I think we've established the fact that there's a lot of fucking retarded people in Hollywood with a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think we have established that. Smooth the DJ has gifted 10 Nerdrotic memberships for 50. Smooth! What are you doing? 50. 50. But you're right. Like Dune's the first big release of 2024. And March is day after tomorrow. It's leap year. So we get an extra day in February, which is good because I can get an extra video in this month. But yeah. Can't wait for the American Society of Magical Negroes, though. Looking forward to that one. Civil War is coming out, too.
Yeah, Civil War comes out in, I think, April 15th or April 12th.
Yeah. April 12th. On TV, The Three Body Problem comes out in April on Netflix. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming out on streaming. Oh, Horizon. We didn't even talk about that. I saw the Horizon trailer. It's fucking long. It's like, for a trailer, it's like 3.5 minutes long. Have you seen it, Chris? Kevin Costner's Horizon. So that is a 2-part movie, and both parts are coming out in one summer.
Yeah, I heard about that. It sounds interesting. I like
It
that.
it does. It looks to me like Kevin Costner worked on Yellowstone and said, I can do better than this Sheridan guy, and got the Western bug again and decided to go out and make his own Western, like his own version of 1883.
Yeah.
Which Kevin Costner's famously a prick, like famously a prick.
Yeah, I've heard that too. It sucks, but you know what? I still like whatever you think. I like Dances with Wolves. I like that film.
I like some of his
90s
stuff. I do.
Western.
Yeah. I
like it.
Razorfist will probably kill me for this, but I like Silverado.
Uh-oh.
I fucking
Oh no!
I love Silverado. I love that movie. But I like Westerns. I just like Westerns.
I do too. I like Westerns that are accurate, where they're just like using charcoal to brush their teeth and like it's just dirty, like how the life was, and go and take a bath and then go to the whorehouse.
Back to Shogun really quick. That's something they do really well is they set up the politics, Okay, so they're in Japan. There's an Englishman and he's not Catholic. He's not Catholic. And the Portuguese they have a monopoly on the trade because they've been hiding it. They've been hiding the trade routes to Japan, so they have exclusive, and they are trying to convert Japan into Catholicism. They've got some of the warlords and not some of the warlords, but they really go into the schism between the Protestants and the Catholics in it pretty well. And they fucking hate each other. It's great. And they all call each other dogs and stuff. It's so good. It's like, God, I miss those. There's a great scene where a Japanese guy is teaching the English guy Japanese, and he teaches him like wrong Japanese. It's fucking great. It's great. It's great. Gray Ghost for $20 says, which HD set of Lord of the Rings would you recommend? I got my new 4K projector to break in my renovated game/movie room. Would kind of suck to play the original DVD release. I thought about that 30 disc collector set. Thoughts? Okay, I have them all because I'm a collector. I'm a fucking crazy nut collector. So they did a Middle Earth in a wooden like bookcase, and they did this was DVD, this was Blu-ray, but they did the Middle Earth. It goes for like, I think at retail it went for more, but it goes for like $300. So I bought that, and it looks like a bookcase. I actually have two. I have one in the box and one out the box. All right. Then the one out the box, I took the Middle Earth, the new one, the 4K one, and I made it a special edition, because what the Middle Earth one that Amazon just put out the collection and that huge box collection are missing is the special features. They're both missing the special features from the original golden Blu-ray box set of just Lord of the Rings. So what you do is you have to buy that. That's cheap. You can buy that anywhere. And that will have your special features that are missing from the more extravagant ones, which is fucking retarded, by the way. But definitely get the 4K. The 4K transfers on Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, really fucking good. Amazing.
The special features on those discs are so good. There's a whole documentary, because you're like, how did they do these movies? Like, how did they do such epic scale? A lot of it is the color correction saved it. Because saved that.
Also,
because they could, it was incredibly innovative.
Actors really genuinely liked each other.
Yes.
The main two writers and Peter Jackson really wanted to fucking get it right. And New Zealand is a character. Absolutely is a character in this movie. Just like the Enterprise is a character. New Zealand becomes Middle Earth. That's why like Rings of Power leaving New Zealand was just fucking retarded, but they suck anyway. And our good friend Robert Meyer Burnett worked on these special features. These are the single greatest special features ever made for a film. Period. There's hours of them, and it's how to capture lightning in a bottle. It's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's God, I think I remember reviewing those on DVD Tuesday, like back at G4, and just the special features were so dense. I mean, it's just like pure love was put into the making of the films, the cast just that bonded. The fact that they were removed from Hollywood, I mean, it's not, I guess because of its financing, it's technically not a foreign film, right? But it feels like it from the standpoint of Peter Jackson was so smart to make it in New Zealand, because it was like, it just contributed to less studio interference.
Yeah,
we could just make the movies and be undisturbed, right? I don't think there's ever been a movie. That's why that comment from Bob Iger is so stupid about, well, we didn't get to supervise Nia DaCosta that much. And that's why it wasn't good. Like,
that is the funniest statement of last year. Our POC virtue hire, casting a director, didn't have enough middle management supervision.
Right. So stupid.
What a fucking retard. Mark McLaren for 50 British pounds. That's proper money. Thank you very much. Hi, Gary. Been watching you guys for years. Thank you. And you convinced me to start my own channel. Good. Covering pop culture. Could you please shout out my new channel, The Cynical Taxi Driver? I like that. The Cynical Taxi Driver. Keep up the sterling work, my friend. You are a leg end in my house. I don't know how to take that, but thank you. I'll take it well.
Did it say leg end?
It's British. They're weird. They say everything wrong, but I love them. I if I was going to live in any other country, it would be that one. So It would be that one. In the north, definitely. The north is fucking gorgeous. Cotswolds, not so bad either. Not so bad either. Thank you very much, and good luck with your channel. It's tons of fun. It's a hobby. I used to. Streaming's hard, guys. Okay? You don't understand. You don't understand.
The hardest job I've ever had.
Hardest job I've ever had? Oh my God. So when this channel got going, I was working at Tesla in San Rafael. I lived in the city, so I had to cross the Golden Gate Bridge every day to go north. It was an hour drive there and back. So that's 2 hours commute. And then I'd work 10-hour days because I did the 10-hour 4 days a week thing because that became a thing. They kept on changing the overtime laws in California, but they like every couple of years they'd go back and forth, but then they like would be in a place where, oh, you can work 4 10s and have 3 days off. Fuck yeah, let's do that. So I was gone 12 hours a day minimum, 4 days a week, still doing this because it was fun. And that wasn't hard. It wasn't like going to Tesla was, it was a pain in the ass. It was annoying. Having a boss with a ponytail was really fucking annoying. I mean, the work was hard. The work at Tesla was hard. It's a very different kind of parts job. Dude, all day, every day, you're carrying tires because that's pretty much when you're doing maintenance on a Tesla, you're either replacing a door handle, a cracked screen, a tire, or the entire car battery. That's it. That's the maintenance on a Tesla. They go through tires like fucking crazy. I still didn't I wouldn't call it soul sucking because I was grateful to have a job.
I've had those soul sucking jobs.
I've had them.
I think I'll say this: YouTube, I love doing it. It's fun. It's fun, but the learning curve to get good is a learning curve. Just to even get the technical aspects, your set, like how it works in your home. Like if you're like a very successful YouTuber, Young Ripa, Eric July, who has a home studio, there's that aspect, and it kind of always needs to be set up in order to be able to go. But I'll say this, I think that actually doing YouTube is more difficult than TV. And TV is, they really make it easy for you because it's like, oh, just stand here, talk whatever. You got the. Yeah. I think YouTube is more. It's a difficult.
Well,
set of
you're
skills
everything in TV production, including the cast,
okay.
Right?
Yeah, to put this in context, like listening to multi-millionaires who've never worked a fucking day in their life complain, fuck off, fuck off. But for a new up and coming person who's trying it for the first time, yeah, it takes work, takes dedication. You got to have a crazy obsessive dedication to stick with this. Like whatever subject matter you're in, you got to be obsessed. Like that's it. And not well-versed. No, I'm not an expert on anything, but like crazy obsessed. Like this, like Chris, if Chris did a different job, Chris would be waking up every morning and hitting the trades and going to the nerd sites like I was. Yeah. Like, outside of the comic, the shit I do in the morning is the same shit I did in the morning 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Get up, have a cup of coffee, hit the fucking trades, hit the nerd sites, see what's going on.
Yeah, no, same. It was always like check the force.net, check this, check the
OneRing.net. Yeah.
Dark Horizons, and I was doing
Dark Horizons. I haven't thought about that one in a long time.
Art Franker from Australia. Yeah.
Yeah, that was early. Dude, that's early. Force.net used to be a really good channel. Good site. Good site. Yeah.
Before like the prequels came out, it was I would refresh the page to see if there was more news, right? And then you go to the comment section. I mean, it was great. So yeah, you really do have to be an obsessive. And I think that's why I think like Robert Meyer Burnett is the one that really said it. This, authenticity is currency.
Yeah.
This is where the mainstream media fails.
And that's what we were setting up earlier is like and the mainstream media now knows this. They cannot compete against YouTube. YouTube will destroy them. Like like a studio television will be gone within a decade. Gone.
Yeah.
Just gone. And they'll either start broadcasting live streams. Like why would you want to spend millions on a fucking studio? Why? I mean, you don't need to. and writers put themselves out of work with that last strike. So Ian So Forth has gifted 10 Nerdrotic memberships for 50. Thank you. 50. John, thank you. And the members, thank you, Ian. Ian, you're so forth, Ian. John Thomas for $20 says, Gary, just binge Farscape. Farscape's awesome. I loved it. Such a classic. Season 4 finally made me curse people for their progeny. I didn't know about Peacekeeper War. While not as good, enjoyable, and more satisfying ending. Yeah, a great show cut too short that came in a really great time for sci-fi. The early 2000s were just a fun time for sci-fi. They were trying something different. And if you want to know the kind of sci-fi I like all kinds of sci-fi, but I have a favorite type. And my favorite type is Hitchhiker, Doctor Who, Farscape sci-fi, where it's a lived-in world. Fifth Element, Star Wars. It's more of a heavy metal type of sci-fi,
Gary, you saying that just convinces me you would love Red Dwarf.
I know. It's daunting to get into. It's like getting into One Piece. Things been around forever,
13 seasons. It started in 1988. It spans the 90s. I used to have like box sets on VHS.
I'll watch it. I have season 1. Somebody sent me season 1. So I got it.
Cool. It's on Tubi and a couple of other places you can find it. It's so good. It's so smart. It's so funny. It's so far ahead of its time. It's so, dare I say, diverse, which I hate even to bring that up, which is so stupid. This is what bothers me about, oh, by the way, shout out to It's a Gundam. Just did one of the greatest of his videos. And that's saying something because his videos are like yours. They're mini documentaries.
Gundam's a genius. Have you heard his music? Have you heard his music? It's unfucking believably good. So his last couple live streams, he's played the full song at the end of his live stream. Go watch. Listen to his music. The guy's amazing.
So this video that dropped today is about Sweet Baby, that company that's basically.
Oh yeah. Well, Az has been all over that. Yeah.
Holy, the stuff that he dug up. I mean, Gary, I know you're a longtime gamer, but this will even a lot of this will be news to you. It is everything happening in Hollywood times 10. You have to watch. It's his latest video, Gundam's video. I think came out this morning.
Well, there's millions, not millions. There's hundreds of Sweet Baby Inks all over Hollywood, and the corporations and their own rules. But
the clips that Gundam dug up from like seminars and this and TED Talk and whatever, it's infuriating the narcissism of these a-holes that have destroyed. And I'm looking like, why are games kind of lame now? Why is it like, I feel like I'm basically walking from one thing to another, reading some dialogue, and then a video plays. There's no skill involved in playing video games anymore. It's sort of infuriating. It's just, so I'm like, why are games so, and he lays it all out. It's probably one of the best things he's ever done. And that's saying something. So
yep.
Shout out to Gundam.
Rigor Morpheus for $4.99. I'll send you my bucket, X-Ray. Don't mind the hole in the bottom. B Roams for $5. Gary, thank you for keeping it 100%. Chris, been a fan since G4. Bro, keep it up. X-Ray girl, I see you. A little Asian persuasion. Wow. Simps. Is it Manuel Mendez? But is that
Josu?
That's not. I think it's Jose Manuel Mendez for $10. Or Josue. Hail Gary, Chris. Jose spelled with an E, not with a UE. So maybe UE is something different. Sorry, I apologize. Hail to Gary, Chris, and X-Ray Girl. I have been sharing film threat videos to my friends who want to do movies, writing, and been sharing the D files, recommending him to do indie stuff. That's what they're there for. They offer the alternative, right?
Yeah. We're going to be doing Jim Agnew, who's my friend, who's a WGA screenwriter, is going to be doing like a private for members, but we're going to let if you just go to his website, James J. Agnew, you can register. We're going to do a Q&A with him where he's going to say, here's how you write a screenplay. Here's how you get an agent. Here's how you do all these things. And also, if you want to do it independently, here's what I did. Because he's just making indie films now. He's not waiting to be hired.
Yeah.
Right. He's just doing.
That's always our response. It's like, we are the workers of Hollywood. No, you're not. You're, for one, you're artists and you're independent contractors and contractors for the most part. You don't deserve shit. And if you feel so good about your fucking writing, go out on your own and do it. There's so many people who just need that corporate tit for personal validity. And quite frankly, a lot of people got famous in Hollywood for being on the corporate tit. But once they got away from it, there's not too many Michael J. Straczynskis in the world, right? Or even George R. Martin, who was a television writer, right? Who have enough talent to go out on their own and just do their own shit because they're not talented enough. And you know what? Talent should be a rare thing. It absolutely should be a rare thing. Not everybody's going to fucking make it in Hollywood. As a matter of fact, very few. As Robert Meyer Burnett pointed this out, Hollywood is a pipe dream. It's a fucking pipe dream. You're probably not going to make it. You know, it doesn't mean you don't try, but like when you're diluting your talent so much and damaging your overall brand, well, this is the era we have now. And Hollywood is the ultimate, art is the ultimate meritocracy. And it's not just talent. It's not just fucking talent. It's dedication, work ethic, all that other stuff.
Well, it's like I saw in a recent cartoon that featured an animated version of As. It's all about the customer. And to me, it's almost like the voting that you can't lie about, right? It's like when you see, it's like, well, here's how much it made. That's why I don't trust the streaming numbers, because the studios themselves are releasing these numbers. That's why the US box office is such a great barometer of all of that, right? Like it's like, well, this is how many sold. It's a reflection of people's response. So,
Andre CR for 2,500 Martian pesos asked, Gary, are you okay? Is your social battery charged? I hope you had replacements for those. Also, hi, Frank. I was thinking about like getting a social battery just to replace, but I put it up on Twitter. Our social runs on nuclear, baby. It's never drained. You know what? Yes, you will get tired from a stream. I take a little 15-minute like micro nap and I feel great. I'm fine. Hairukami for 20 British pounds. Film one-liners. You're gonna need a bigger boat. Yes. The dialogue is absolutely part of it. He's French. That's all I got to say. Saint Smash for $2. Chris Gore sounds like Nick Swarsden.
Nick Swarsden? You mean the comedic actor? Wait, I sound like him? Like physically sound like him?
Gojira Star for 5477 for $10. There were 10 concentration camps where Disney shot Mulan, including one for children, per Taiwan News and other human rights organizations. Yeah, Disney can fuck off with their fucking moralizing. You're a fucking evil corporation that does evil things. Elon called them out. They're virtue signaling while they're, you know what? They participate in child labor. They absolutely participate in child fucking labor. Fuck off. Carlos Lima for $5. Hey, Gary, maybe try watching Frank Herbert's Dune 2000 miniseries. I did. It has a great late William Hurt. You might enjoy it. I did. I watched it. I watched it when it came out. Back in the day. Dominic Polacchino or Polkino on the Streamlabs side for $10. Thank you very much. Bill Maher is a snob and has a handshake like a wet fish. Yeah, he's got a limp wrist. He's very, you know what? Pot smokers are going to get mad. I think pot should be legal. I just don't think you should smoke it. Like ever. I think it really raises your estrogen when you get older. Like when that happens anyway when you get older, and I think it boosts it like 20%.
I'm just tired of everywhere I go, not in Pasadena, but when I go to LA, it smells like weed and urine.
Yeah, I fucking hate.
And I'm just like,
driving completely changed in California after pot got legalized too. Like driving got noticeably worse in a place that was pretty bad already.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It annoys me. So I don't mind it being legal. I think it should be privacy of your own home.
Yep.
Do it. So there you go.
Mickey Spoon K for £5 Bump up Chris's volume, please. XOXO. We did. Chris G. Byron, but thank you for the £5 for $9.99. I think it's a good movie, but not as good as most feel. It could have been edited better. I think people are incredibly starved of action movies with real stakes rather than studio puppet. Yeah, I mean, that's where I knock it off a couple. I don't score, but I would say if I did, that's where I knock it off a couple of points. Was pacing and characterization were, I think, its weak points. It was visually pretty rad, but I didn't read the books, but I've always felt the books were a little stark for me. But I mean, I prefer a certain type, like just showed you. Like I am a Flash Gordon, but we just lost X-Ray Girl. Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Star Wars, Red Heavy Metal Magazine kind of sci-fi guy. I like my sci-fi weird. I like it with a lot of personality and levity. I'm not like the biggest Foundation fan or, Dune. Right. I'm not like into like that really deep sci-fi. Just not. Same goes for fantasy too. Mickey Spoon K for £5 I read that one. Oilers Workshop for $4.99. Maybe Canada. Maybe something happened to Canada. For $4.99. Gary, by buying your home outright, you're opting out of collapsing fiat credit system. You made the right choice. I'm planning the same. Thank you. I did not believe in that. Well, you can use the house payment as a write-off. Fuck that. I don't want to owe any fucking bank any money. So my wife and I worked decades to get in that position. Decades of paying fucking banks a lot of money and shit. So, but it was worth it. It's worth the wait. I mean, we got to pay that nasty fucking property tax. And taxation is theft, but don't owe the bank money.
Good.
Chris G. Biren for $9.99. I think it's a good movie. Oh, I read that one. X-Ray Girl's gone. Now I'm fucking lost.
Oh no.
Oh no. Single cell organism 13 for $10 with a thank you super sticker. Thank you very much.
Just so you know, X-Ray Girl just messaged me on Twitter. She lost power to the house.
Oh.
So
maybe the power department, maybe it experienced Canadian healthcare. I don't know.
Old man balls. A rolling blackout. You never know.
It might be cold there. It's a little chilly here. It's only 60. It was 85 yesterday, dude. It was great. My nuts are still in the water when I take a dump. I need a hand. LOL, says Old Man Balls for £5. Thank you for sharing, by the way. High Frequency Productions for $5 just became a member. Thank you. With a new job, I can relocate LinkedIn Pro. Oh, LinkedIn. That says LinkedIn. It's just misspelled. Pro to it's important nerd shit. All the gratitude to the fellowship. Hail. Thank you for becoming a member. Yeah, I got a job off LinkedIn once. The Tesla job.
X-Ray Girl is actually here, but by her phone.
Okay.
Can she come on her phone? There she is.
There she is.
Hey. She's on her phone.
Yeah. Callum Lyle for $2 Australian. Modern women are terrible. Hi, X-Ray Girl.
Hey.
There she is.
Hi.
Your power went out?
Sorry. My power went out, so I can't work.
It's all right.
I need a computer.
I got it. I got it from here.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Okay.
X-Ray Girl.
Take care.
Gundam also mentioned we are living in Arkham Asylum, except Batman isn't here to save us. He's right. And, he also lives in New York.
I've been saying that for like a year.
And if he did, they would call him problematic. Snoopy Diz for $5. They do call him problematic. The people who write Batman don't like Batman right now. Hassan Hu, Chank Cousin. Says Mickey Spoon K for £5 Taker 610 for $5. Gary, have you seen the Elizabeth Merced quote where she says she has read Superman Legacy script and it makes Lois the protagonist? Real or fake? I saw that on Geeks and Gamers Daily, and I think that's fake. I think that is fake. Just like when people were saying Chani was Zendaya's character was going to be the main character of Dune. They definitely did sweep in some modernity at the end. And apparently they changed the character drastically from the books, would you say?
Yeah,
Okay.
they did. I mean, it's just like in the books, Chani is it's Romeo and Juliet. They are in love, and she is full team Paul. Like, there's none of this like skeptical of what his intentions are. Like, she's in love with him and she's in full support, and she understands decisions that Paul has to make.
Yes. Okay.
That's all.
Yeah. I mean,
that's in the book. That's all in the book. And it's
fucking
all like
Zendaya was cast because she's the hot name right now. I do not get Zendaya. I do not get why people like her at all. She looks like a little 14-year-old girl, so I think that's a little weird. But I got nothing against her. I thought she was fine, but like you could not tell the difference in her performance from fucking the fake MJ in No Way Home and Chani. There's no difference. She has no range.
Yeah.
I think she's a model.
Yeah.
I think she's a model who could probably do pretty well in like a romantic comedy or probably Euphoria. I've never watched Euphoria. I have no desire to ever fucking watch Euphoria, but that might work for her, whatever. But as far as like being in a sci-fi film, playing an alien woman with any kind of presence, it's just not there. And she's the weakest link in the movie because everybody else does great. Everybody else does great. I got no complaints about any other acting in the film at all. MCU fan for $5. Great show today, but hopefully I'll see you in Vegas. I hope to see you there. I know you're really popular in the in the GNG Daily chats. Hail, MCU fan. Hopefully I'll see you in Vegas. Chris will be in Vegas.
I'll be there. I still got to make my plans.
Yeah, make your fucking plans, because like I was trying to talk to Kadish about like us combining the Nooner. Like,
yeah, we can do it. Actually, you know what we can do? You can stream to both channels at the same time.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a dual stream, combine the Nooner, and he was like, "What?" And I'm like, "We'll have Chris talk to you." But you need the sooner you need to tell them what Matt what he told me is the sooner the better, so we can plan it out.
Yeah,
sooner.
I already talked to him.
Okay,
over Twitter. I'll talk to him right now. Send him a quick note.
Kadish is a good dude.
Yeah.
Corey Wilson for $2. I stopped watching first season because of her. Because of her. First season of what?
Euphoria?
Maybe Euphoria. Yeah.
Maybe she's naked in it though, but what can you say?
Who cares?
Yeah. I don't get her.
I don't think she's attractive. I just don't. Derek PG Beller for $4. I like my women looking like women. Sydney Sweeney. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You know, talking about curves. Woo.
Yeah, she's amazing.
That's a woman right there. Derek PJ Beller for $4.99. John Cooper from Skillet just wrote a book, Wimpy, Weak, and Woke, which explains a lot of this. Basically, the chaos is the point. It is. I've said that. Hegel plus Marx plus Freud. No, I've said that the activists come in, they either usurp the work to make it propaganda or completely destroy it, and they are completely okay with either conclusion.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. And we're the ones, and what's another communist thing to do? Accuse your enemy of what you're doing, calling us haters. When we're like the ones who made this stuff popular, we're the ones like the fans made Star Wars popular. George Lucas made the work. The fans make it popular. A lot of creatives don't understand that and never will. Right. And especially in this new age where the creator has to partake in customer service because we're more connected than ever. So this will separate the wheat from the chaff. You know, you're going to have to be a good personality. You're going to have a fucking much thicker skin, and you're going to have to be able to work with customer facing. You know what gave me a leg up on this job? I sat behind a counter for 10 years in a comic shop and had these same exact conversations.
I worked at a video store. I used to go into comic shops. Even having done Film Thread, I think kind of helped with that. Like, I don't know. I'm just grateful people want to give me money to do a thing that I do. Like, I feel so,
be grateful.
A magazine.
Is it work sometimes? Sure. So what?
But it's not, I don't want to say it's not hard. Not everyone can do it. But there is a learning curve. Like, I feel like I'm still learning, like this versus show we're doing. And I'm like, man, Gary, you make it look easy. It's not like I'm like, with all my experience, I'm like, this is a different kind of show. Having 10 people talking, different show altogether. So it's a whole other learning curve and whatever, you know.
We had to work our way up to FNT. Yeah. We definitely had to work because we kept on adding people and mixing and matching, right? Until we found like people who like, yes, we talk over each other, but we still get our point across.
Yeah. No, it's great.
I saw somebody in the chat saying FNT could be more organized. No, it would stop being FNT. It would just not be FNT. We're never going to be organized. We've tried. It's not like we haven't tried.
Yeah.
Off topic, what is your thoughts on Owen, Lars, and Obi-Wan being brothers, radio play or novelization? I wish they would have kept it. I wouldn't have hated that.
No, that was originally the plan. They were brothers. So God, yeah. Jet
Vanian, I think it would have been very Greek and Western all at the same time. Albert Nada Retro for 5 Canadian pesos. Bill Maher defended teaching Mary Kay, I can't pronounce that last name, relationship with a 13-year-old student on his show Politically Incorrect. Oh, it defended the woman who had okay, yeah, gotcha. The teacher, right? That's indefensible. That's an indefensible thing. But there's a lot of people who defend that stuff here on YouTube. Stickle Johnny, $4.99. I spent 4 hours fighting the AMC app. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. I spent 4 hours fighting the MC app to get my Dune tickets for Thursday's showing. Did you get them? 4 hours. That is dedication. Damn nerds. Love you guys. Angmar, WK for $5. Dune 2 is good. So good, Alec Baldwin gave it 5 bang bang rating on Rotten Pistols. I'll barely give you that. But that trying does matter. High Frequency Productions for $5. The Two Towers has the best battle scene in Lord of the Rings. The tension, the anticipation for the Helm's Deep feels so personal. I just love it. Yeah, and to compare it, that is... remember, the same people who are saying that are telling other critics that they're culturally they're culturally illiterate or have media literacy problems. It's just retarded. Zon Landar for 50 Swedish krona. Oh no, I'm concerned for your Dune review. I'm still going to watch it tomorrow. Please, I got the tickets. Oh, don't be concerned. I just didn't think it was perfect. That's all. I just didn't think it was perfect. But I will not spoil the film. But I'm going to tell you what I really thought. Mohammed Albanani has gifted 10 Nerdrotic memberships for $50. 10. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, my friend. Cheers. Zodlander, yeah, don't be concerned. I liked it. I liked the film. It's really, really, really good. Probably the best movie that's going to come out this year. Like,
yeah.
It would have been for me up there with if you want to compare like a film that I just thought was a brilliant one for the ages, Godzilla -1. Godzilla -1 is top tier. This is like a tier below. Does that give you like you are really going to enjoy it? And I am probably going to be in the minority outside of like book purists having a problem, but as somebody who's not a book purist, because I haven't read the book, And it's just my opinion. I'm like, I am not a cinema expert. Okay.
I saw Ryan Kinnell's review. He really loved
fucking loved it. Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear
No,
what
everybody who's seen it has mostly pretty much fucking loved it across the board.
Yeah.
There's been a couple people who probably feel like me, like Mega Geek. And I got to give him props for like the clinical description is really I'm going to absolutely borrow that for my review. I think that's appropriate. But that's how I felt about a lot of music. There was a lot of musicians who were clinical. Like technically they were fucking fantastic, but they were missing a little heart, a little soul, and that's what I need in my stuff for me to call it 10 out of, like Godzilla -1 had tons of heart, absolutely filled with it. Which connects you with characters. And that's just my personal preference. Like I like a character driven thing more than a plot driven thing. I do love me some world building. I do. Daniel Deal for $5. The Vegas Sphere should show movies like This Is It. Oh yeah. It would, road trip there for these movies. I would road trip there for these movies. Oh, it's showing maybe they'll do that someday because they can treat it like the old school IMAX screens. Okay. You know what remember the old IMAX?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember
I love those. They were kind of curved.
Yeah. Reuben H. Fleet Space Theater in San Diego. And real IMAX would be like, they put the giant IMAX camera on a fucking skier and had him going down a slalom. And like, you're just like,
you'd feel nauseated because you were they were always like, IMAX was like this format for like, we're going to show outer space movies and nature documentaries. And
yeah.
Now like Hollywood filmmakers are using it to show that epic scale. But yeah, I love those whenever I got to see them.
She back.
Yeah, it came back as I like literally exited the call, but it took so long to set everything else up.
And we're almost done. Trish Page for $5. I never got into Dune. You guys got me into it. I'm working on a mural project at night, and I am listening to the audiobook now. Thanks. Definitely. That's great. All the Dune fans will be, Nerd Cookies will be happy. Danica will be happy. Chris is happy. Default for $4.99. I'm convinced Dennis made the statement because he was pissed off at all the dialogue he has to deal with while working on Dune Part 3 screenplay. Is there a lot of dialogue in Dune Part 3?
No, well, Dune
it's a shorter
Messiah
book.
is kind of a novella. It's short. It's like an epilogue to like the events in Dune, and Frank Herbert wrote it as to kind of clarify what the themes were. I suspect that Dune Part 3 from Denis, the movie, is going to be a combination of events from Messiah and Children of Dune. I have no inside info. It is merely speculation. But the fact that they already cast Anya Taylor-Joy to play Alia, and I don't think he's going to wait 10 years to make it. I think he's
taking a couple years off. That's what he said.
He's going to take a couple. He's going to make another movie. There's rumors it's like another Sicario, or they're talking about Rendezvous with Rama, which would be interesting. But because I actually really like Arrival, is the science fiction movie. It's not. I think it's just interesting. Like, how do we communicate with some?
Yeah, isn't that kind of like what Rendezvous with Rama is? I mean, a little bit
of that. Yeah,
conceptually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I want to see more movies like fucking Fifth Element. I think who's doing the in call. Somebody's doing the in call.
But yeah, I like crazy.
Which Fifth Element
weird
borrowed
sci-fi.
from. Yeah,
like
me too.
Weird stuff. That's why the Harkonnen stuff.
That sucked at Valerian. Sucked. I was so disappointed. I wanted Valerian to be great. Yeah, like the Harkonnen stuff was fucking awesome. I needed more of it. I love everything about it. It was like going into Geiger planet. It was really fucking cool.
But I think the interesting questions that we're going to explore over the next couple of weeks is, one, what does this mean for Hollywood, this financial success of this movie? We're assuming it's going to be a success, but is it going to like be sustained? Is it going to have legs? Like Oppenheimer and Barbie? Who knows? And then secondly, is it going to have an impact in terms of serious sci-fi? Because to me, if Star Wars was dead, this is the nail in the coffin and pissing on the grave, because Star Wars is dumb. I have talked about this. Star Wars just looks dumb in comparison. It never aged up with the audience.
No,
Waller did a great video about that, where it's like even Harry Potter aged with the audience. It was for kids, and then it became more mature. Star Wars is just, it's dumber than it's ever been, and
so is Star Trek. So Star Trek. Robert Burnett came out and said, "I wish somebody would take on Star Trek with the reverence that they took on Dune." It's like, yeah, they don't.
Look at when you respect the subject matter. Yes, you had to make a lot of choices to condense things. I'm okay with it for the movie, but like smart sci-fi, if this makes money, maybe it changes the game. Maybe it will get some studio executives to pay attention. I don't know. I have no faith in them at all.
Yeah.
But, we'll see.
All right, I got to get these at. Ooh, what was that?
Yeah.
That was important. Yeah. Okay. Boog for 20 Mexican dollars. The superior Godzilla movie is called Final Wars. Thomas Zabriskie for 2 British pounds says, that's the Chris. That's what Chris looks like. Spotify listener. Oh, there you go. Hey, hail Spotify. Yeah, we're getting quite the following on Spotify.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
well, that's cool.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I like Spotify. I listen to a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy about that. Collecting classic X-Men Omnibus pre-2016 and loving them. Hope in one day it gets good again. Well, Green Melican for $14.07. I do too. Gary is the Wizard of Oz controlled masterfully by the real brains. X-Ray Girl, says Rove for 5 British pounds. That's true. Wraith's Reign for $10. Hey, Gary, Netflix Avatar The Last Airbender was really the Ember Island play just made for the live action ATLA. Dude, it was bad. It's bad. And I fucking IGN is so they just exist to gaslight. They're like, Netflix says it got more views early on than One Piece. Okay, let's see if people are talking about Avatar The Last Airbender 2 months later like they were about One Piece. Let's just see. Yeah. Let's just see. We'll see. Avatar is not in the same league. And I don't mean as a franchise. I just mean as 2 shows, 2 adaptations. It's not in the same universe. It's not in the same realm. It's not in the same reality at all to One Piece. Not even fucking close. All right, we got to get out of here. Chris, what do you got coming up?
Hollywood on the Rocks in the next less than 30 minutes. I'm going to have a couple tacos. I'm going to be sitting down with Alan Ng. We're going to talk a lot of news, including the first photo of Bill Skarsgård.
Oh shit! I still got some.
Crow.
Oh no, never mind. Okay.
Just
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah, cool. Actually, I kind of like it. I like it. It's gonna be different.
Oh, do you?
No, you're not it. You're not up.
No, they don't need to remake this movie.
Well, yes, I disagree with a remake, but if you're gonna do that, it's like, all right, fine. Plus, we have David Desmalchin on the show. He has a new film that's coming out called Late Night with the Devil, which is an awesome horror film that's coming to Shudder. So David Desmalchin from Dune Part 1 is going to be on the show, along with Alan and I talking Dune stuff. I don't know. It's our Wednesday show is kind of our news show. So should be a lot of fun. So join me in like less than 30.
Very cool.
Cool. And I'll be on FNT this week, I think.
Yeah, you're talking about Dune.
Yeah, hopefully we can watch that cartoon because I'm really curious to see.
Oh yeah, no, I'll put it in the intro and then we'll watch the cartoon with the guys there. I think that'll.
And I have to.
It's up to like 8,000 views.
What's that? It's
up to 8,000. 8.7.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. I'll talk to you about that cartoon on Friday.
Yeah. Do we got a couple super chats that snuck in there? X-Ray Girl. Saw one from Eric K. Did you get that one? Hang on.
This one here.
Eric K. I saw Eric K. Maybe.
Last time was Disneyland.
No, maybe my thing's all messed up. Don't worry about it. Hey, what do you got coming up, X-Ray Girl?
I am going to be on Poor Choices tonight, Sip and Chill, 9 p.m. Eastern, and I might play a game depending on how good the power is. I'm a little nervous because it's like 70 to 80 kilometer winds right now.
Oh, wow.
In miles. I have no idea what that is. But yeah, and a lot of rain and thunder.
It's like 30,
lightning,
40,
so.
right? Mile an hour.
Yeah. Gusty. It's a little gusty.
Oh.
Drop in temperature.
All
yeah.
right. Well, I hope everything works out for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to record just a short Dune review. Mostly because like I don't know much about the lore, so I'm just going to tell you what I feel about the movie, and it won't be any no spoilers or anything. Be out by tomorrow. And Friday Night Tights with Chris, we'll talk more about Dune and all the other stuff that's going on. There's so much of it going on right now. Go check out Gina's interview on the PBD podcast. It's a couple hours. It's really good. It's good to see like Gina gets more comfortable as time goes on, and it's good that the word gets out. I don't know if their chat is up on their live streams, but pay attention to the chat because that was pretty funny. We got some Dan Vasks are gay in there and stuff. It was just, it was great.
That's amazing.
That was good. I was loving it. So, yeah. And, God, I feel like I should be announcing something, but I'm forgetting. So it's not important. We will see you next time, next Wednesday on Nerdrotic Nooner. And thanks to the Modrotics. Thanks to everyone who left a super chat and donation. You help keep the lights on. Thanks to all the lurkers and everybody who participated in the chat. Despite this being the hardest job in the world, you guys make it easy. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.